I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse. Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me, like told me, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah, refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back for another episode. Now, look, you see me, I'm in an old Miami University jacket I had back in the day. I wasn't a fan. I used to play for the Milo Heights Hurricanes, so you know what I'm saying. I had the Hurricanes jacket, but nonetheless, we're doing an ACC review today. We're going over our preview before the season last year. See how many games we got right, wrong, records, where we off, where we close, ACC standings, ACC Player of the Year, ACC champion picks, everything like that. So you don't want to miss it. And before I introduce my two guests that was a part of the preview, so we have to bring them back for the review, I have to shout out the network. Shout out CTC, my show. Please like, comment, subscribe. It helps the channel, helps the network. Host my channel CTC by way of the Refuse to Lose Network. We also have the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave every Tuesday and Friday, 7 to about 8:30ish. So make sure you check them out. They will be live tomorrow. My Refuse to Lose lock them in did not go well. Should have took the Tigers -1.5. Should have just bet on my boys. But we move. Next, we have BWT Baseball with Teddy. Speaking of baseball, my Tigers sweep the Rockies 25-13 on the year, second best record in baseball, best record in the American League. Shout out my boys, they have been balling. But for all your baseball needs, Yankees, things like that, make sure you listen to and subscribe to Baseball with Teddy. We have Unfazed every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, featuring Joe and AJ. Make sure you tune into them. Playoffs are heating up. They're definitely talking playoffs right now. They made their predictions for the second round last Tuesday. Make sure you listen to that and subscribe. We have fantasy football with Coach Coombs. Fantasy football season is very slowly creeping up on us. He's going to talk about, off-season draft, stuff like that. So make sure y'all tune into him when he's live and subscribe. We have Dave's Doghouse, one of the guests on our show today. He does highlights and lowlights of sports. I believe he told me he's doing his show tomorrow morning. So make sure you listen and subscribe to that as well. Next, we have Real Ballers Only featuring Vaughn, NBA content. Second round is here. I'm just going to say I anticipate an episode in the near future from him. So make sure you listen and subscribe to him as well. We have In the Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Tomo. Boxing episode. We had a couple fights this past weekend, so they're probably going to talk about that this Sunday at 7. They go live every other Sunday. But like I said, we had some fights, so they're probably going to go live this Sunday at 7 o'clock. Make sure you tune into them. Now, I believe that is all these shows we have on the network. So please listen, like, share, subscribe to those channels as well. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Now, we do have a comment real quick from my boy Kev. He said, I have to tune in to stay on point with college knowledge. Shout out to you, bro. Hashtag Steph move over. Hashtag Kev get out. Anyway, I'm going to bring up my guest now first. Let me get my little situation situated. Surprised ain't say nothing about the jacket, but it's all good. It's all good. First, we got my boy, like I said, host of Dave's Doghouse, Miami Hurricanes fan. We got my boy Dave. How you feeling, my boy? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Glad to be back. Talk about the ACC. Let's get it, man. Let's get it. And I love the jacket you got on, my boy.
Appreciate it. Costs a pretty penny, man. All right, next we got my boy Ace. Family to the show. He's with me through a lot of my previews. He did, I believe, the Big 12 with me this past year. We always do our 10 teams to look out for in the group of 5. So shout out my boy Ace. What's good, Ace? Hold on. Here we go.
What's happening, man? Good to be back. Always love to be here. And I think that's some very nice fashion there, buddy.
In honor of the ACC episode, I had, getting the ACC spirit. Now, I will say this one. Yeah, see? Now, I will say this. One, this is the only ACC item that I own. 2, I have to show y'all that I did not welch. Chattanooga won the NIT. So I do have my NIT championship shirt. It came like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. I couldn't wear it during the draft. I obviously had to wear my Raven stuff. So it is on under this jacket. So I did hold up to my end of the bargain. Got the NIT shirt. Shout out to Chattanooga. Shout out Honor Huff, and Trey Bonham. Shout out to them guys. All right. So y'all already know how this goes. We made our previews, made our predictions. We got to review them and see how well we did. And we're going to do them in alphabetical order like we do our previews. So without further ado, let's hop into it. We're going to start off with Boston College. Boston College, first year under Bill O'Brien. Thomas Castellanos is no longer there. He did play this season. Had a pretty decent season. Went 7-5, 4-4. I predicted them to go 5-7, 3-5. They did make a bowl game. They did lose in the Pinstripe Bowl, 20-15 to Nebraska. This is what I'll say about this season with Boston College. I think they struggled to have a consistent passing game, and I think that was due to lack of a passer at quarterback. Thomas Castellanos definitely more so of a running quarterback, in my opinion. And I also kind of didn't like how they would use Kyle Robichaux a lot. I thought he was kind of being underutilized as a running back. Defensively, we all know they had the defensive player of the year in Donovan as a rookie. In the ACC, he had a monster season. But I don't think this defense was – I would say it was solid. So I'm going to go over the games that I had. So for Florida State, I had them losing to Florida State, which they absolutely dominated Florida State. So that was one wrong for me. I had them beating Duquesne, losing at Mizzou, losing to Michigan State, which Aiden Childs and MSU lost that game. Rainy game, just left plays on the field. As an MSU fan, I was very hurt behind that one. I had them beating Western Kentucky, which that one was a slugfest for a while. Losing to Virginia, which they lost. Losing to Virginia Tech, they lost. Losing to Louisville, they lost. Beating Syracuse, which they did win. Losing to SMU, which they lost. I had them beating UNC, which they won. And I had them beating Pitt, which they won. I got 10 games right on the Boston College prediction. Got 2 games wrong. So my record in predicting Boston College's record, I went 10-2. Dave, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk about Boston College.
All right, so when we first talked about Boston College, I talked about their recruiting and their transfer recruits. How I was expecting some of those guys to somewhat come in and help out, but it wasn't much. I, just like Carl, had them going 5-7. And I actually looked at the ACC record this time. I had them going 2-6 in the ACC. So they actually did better than that. I believe they went 4-4 in the ACC. And they were 7-6.
Well, 7-5. We're just gonna do regular season. We didn't predict the bowl.
That's right. That's true. So 7-5. So I was definitely shocked to see exactly. Well, I wasn't too shocked to see them win 2 extra games, but it was definitely. I definitely didn't think that they were going to make a bowl game, though. So it was a pretty good season for Boston College in my eyes, but I definitely got the record wrong.
All right, Ace, talk to me about Boston College.
Yeah, beginning of the season, I didn't think Boston College was going to be that great. My prediction for them was 4-8 and 2-6 in conference play. Obviously, they finished better than that at 6-6 and 4-4 in conference play. But I do think that once they benched Thomas Castellanos, they got a little bit better. Bill O'Brien is a quarterback guy, and he doesn't want somebody who's just mostly running out there, Mm-hmm. So I think once they did that, I can't remember the backup's name, but I think he came in.
I can't remember his name either.
I can't really remember exactly which game it was. I want to say maybe Louisville or something like that. But they played a lot of tough games. Like, a lot of these games were just one possession
Oh,
games. That they lost.
Grayson James from FIU,
Right.
and
Yeah.
FIU.
You think back to the SMU game, they were kind of in it for a lot of it. What else? Louisville, they were in it to the wire for real. Things like that. And the bowl game, they lost to a Nebraska team that kind of felt like they were supposed to win that game. It's just like some things happened in that game. They had some people who were sitting out. It's like
You feel that way?
kind of, sort of.
I feel like they almost stole it.
I don't remember the end of the game, but
Because I feel like Boston College, for a lot of it, was down, and then they almost came back and won at the end. I think they almost stole that game. If I want to say correctly, I want to say it was like one of those rainy games where, like, Nebraska was messing
something
up.
like that, because it was a low-scoring game. It was only about like 35 points scored, if that.
Yeah, it was. It was 20-15. Nebraska won.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I think going into next year they'll probably be okay. But as far as this season, I mean, what else could you really ask for? I mean, isn't it Bill O'Brien's first year?
It was.
All right, so he's not even playing with house money yet.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this year he was playing with house money because he lost a lot. Yeah, he got Castellanos and Robichaud back, but like I said, those are runners. He didn't really, as far as Bill O'Brien, like you said, he wants a guy he wants more of a balanced offense, maybe more so leaning towards the pass. And he didn't really have that with Castellanos. I don't really think he really had that with Grayson James either. I'm not really a fan of Grayson James like that as well. I feel like he do need to upgrade at the quarterback position. But I think year 1, year 2, he's playing with house money. Year 3, year 4, they're probably going to start expecting stuff from Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I used the wrong expression, not house money, but he's not playing with what he wants there yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I mean, they have bigger issues other than just the quarterback position too, though. So.
You are not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I did like what was it? CJ Lewis, the receiver? No, Lewis Bond, the receiver Lewis Bond. I did like him.
I mean, they got some pieces. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't look at their recruiting class yet or who they got from the transfer portal. But
yeah, that's for the preview. You good right now? We look at that a little bit down the line.
I know. But I did look at some of the games that I got wrong. I got the first game against Florida State. I got that wrong because I had them losing that game to Florida State.
I think everybody in America got that wrong.
I tell you one thing, I can't wait till we get to Florida State. I can't
wait to get mine. I told y'all those off. I can't wait to get those off.
You're right, but still, it's still a celebration for us. Still a celebration for us.
Hey, yeah, you're right, Carl. BC scored 2 touchdowns in the final 3 minutes.
Yeah, they almost stole that joint.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was right about them losing to Missouri. I was right about them beating Michigan State. Sorry, Carl.
They shouldn't have won. Fumbled the opening kickoff to start the second half, man. Then we threw a pick in the red zone. It was just all bad.
Then they lost back-to-back games to Virginia and Virginia Tech. I had them losing to Virginia Tech, but I had them beating Virginia, so I was wrong on that one.
Yeah, I had them losing those 2.
Lost to Louisville, so I was right about that one. Beat Syracuse, I was right about that one. They lost to SMU, right about that one. Beat UNC, wrong about that one. And they beat Pitt, and I was wrong about that too. I had Pitt lose. I had them losing to Pitt.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this: the most shocking, like if looking back at it now, like at the preview season, the most shocking I would say was beating MSU. But their most shocking win actually of the season was beating Syracuse. Going into the previews, I didn't think that would be a shocking win. I wasn't that high on Cal McCord and Syracuse. Didn't know what to expect from Fran Brown and that receiving core. I felt like Syracuse might have lost a lot. But looking back at it now, Syracuse was a really good team, and Cal McCord led the FBS in passing yards. They had guys like Trevor Pena and Narende Gaston, which Gaston's now in the league. Trevor Pena is now at Penn State. Jackson Meeks had a great year for Syracuse. Their offense was very prolific at Syracuse this year. So
the boy broke a record last year. That's how good he did last year.
Yeah,
Cal McCord was throwing bombs.
He broke the season.
Huh?
And he broke our season.
He definitely. Whoa, who was that? I think that was Xavier Restrepo who fumbled. Was that him? Yeah, that's who really broke y'all season. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Restrepo. I love you to death, but you shouldn't fumble.
I love him too, but that's why he went undrafted.
Yeah, man. Nah, he went undrafted because of his size, which is very crazy. People not going. Oh yeah, that too. Didn't he run like a 4.7, 4.8, something like that?
It was like a 4.9 or something like that. It was he wasn't good.
But yeah, that was their most shocking win to me, beating Syracuse. Looking back at it today,
he in Tennessee now.
Oh, shout out to him. Oh yeah, that's right. Shout out to him. All right, anybody got any last thoughts on Boston College last season before we move on?
Nah.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go through some of these comments. So, Kev, the U with the the emojis trying to make it as close as possible to the U. Another Miami fan, but he don't be into him like Dave and Ace, but he is a fan. Kev says tough panel. I might say appreciate you. I don't know why he kept saying 8 and 4. I was trying to figure that out while I was reading the comments.
I'm guessing he thought that Boston College was gonna go 8 and 4 last year. I don't know.
I have no idea. Kev, you can let us know in the comments. But we're gonna move on to Cal. Cal is our next team we have to talk about. I had Cal going 7 and 5, 4 and 4 in conference play. They finished the season 6 and 6, 2 and 6, losing the LA Bowl to UNLV. I actually remember watching that game a little bit. But Cal, I will say this: Jaden Ott didn't have the year I thought he would have. He had a really good game against y'all, but that was kind of like an outlier game, to be honest. But I don't really remember them using him like that. And I want to say Frankie Mendoza really didn't do as well as everybody thought he would either. I kind of want to say he got benched at one point. But yeah, I thought so. He got benched at one point. But I would say Cal's defense was better than I thought coming into the season. I didn't think the defense would be as good as it was. Now, I'm not saying it was great by any means, but it was better, like I said, better than I thought. I think offensively they were kind of hindered, and that's why they went 6 and 6. So obviously we'll go into the schedule. I had them beating UC Davis, which they did win. I had them losing to Auburn, but they actually won 21-14. If I remember correctly, that game was sloppy. I want to say Auburn had like a ton of fumbles in that game. They beat San Diego State, which they had a down year. They lost to Florida State, which I had them losing to Florida State, which that's a terrible loss. They lost to Miami. Can't really. Oh, that was a crazy loss only because of circumstance. They should not have lost that game. They blew that one. Shout out to y'all though, because I held my prediction with that. I had them beating Pitt, which they lost by 2, which we'll talk about Pitt later. Had them losing to NC State, which they did lose to NC State. Had them beating Oregon State, they won. Had them beating Wake Forest, which they won. I had them beating Syracuse, which they lost 33-25. Had them beating Stanford and losing to SMU. I predicted 9 games right, 3 games wrong with a 9-3 record on their prediction, not their season, but my prediction for their season. I'll go to you, Ace. Talk to me about Cal.
Yeah, I think you said it all pretty well. Mendoza didn't perform as well as we thought he would. Like, a lot of people thought he would take a next step and, like, kind of get ahead of that gunslinger mentality and, play with a little more poise and better decisions, but it didn't seem that way. Jayla Ott, I believe, was injured, though. So, you can't really hold that against him. He did have a lot of big flash plays against us, though, so shout out to him for that. So my prediction for them was 6 and 6, 3 and 5 in conference play, and they actually were 6 and 6, but 2 and 6 in conference play. And I want to say that the game that I got wrong is, to be honest, I'm not even sure. Probably Syracuse. No, not sure. I have to look through it though. But like you said, the defense was pretty good. I mean, they were definitely had way more shining points than the offense, especially like in our game. Like, they stopped us more than a lot of people who stopped us this year, But other than that, the Auburn game was cool, but like you said, the 2 quick interceptions at the end that kind of killed that. Syracuse was a tough game. They played them pretty close, which is decent. And like you said, the Florida State loss.
1 second. Go ahead, keep talking. Just give me a second.
Yeah, the Florida State loss is horrible, man. I mean, it's not really much you can say about that. They kind of just they were up and down all season, And it's kind of, I guess, it's what you expect with a team that's playing on the whole other side of the coast. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're on the West Coast and they got to come over here 500 miles or something or whatever it is every week or back-to-back weeks. It's like that's got to be tough on them.
Definitely got to be tough on them. I know when I predicted them, I predicted them to go 7-5, but they went 6-6. So I was just a game off. And out of the games that I picked, I only got 4 wrong. And the 4 I got wrong was NC State. I thought that they would win, but they lost to NC State. They lost to Pitt. I had them beating Pitt. They lost to Syracuse. I had them beating Syracuse and Stanford. I had them losing to Stanford and they beat them. So only 4 games wrong out of what I picked, and I was out of the entire record. I was only a game off from the record, so pretty good, not too bad.
Yeah. So yeah, I was a game off too, but I will say this. Cal, I don't know. I was going to ask, what direction do you see Justin Wilcox and Cal going in? Because it's hard to judge Cal.
Yeah, I can't really say.
I look at Cal like the Chicago Bulls. It's like it's really no direction. You really don't know. They not tanking. I mean, there's not. You can't really say that there's tanking in college football.
I get what you're saying though. It's like they stuck in purgatory.
Yeah, pretty much.
It does kind of seem, except for SMU, like especially with Stanford and Cal, it's like they're like in the vacuum, you know what I mean? So it's like it's kind of hard to get a feel for them because they're not like just in the natural mesh of what the ACC got going on, you know what I mean? Like a lot of teams be like vying for the same players and like all this recruiting and stuff. They're on the complete other side of the country, So it's just like it's kind of weird.
Yeah, and then they kind of be getting the scraps of like the West Coast players, like UCLA, USC.
Most of the West Coast players, about to say they go to USC, UCLA,
Oregon, Washington.
Yeah, they don't. Cal's like it's like a last thought kind of sort of.
And then they lose Jaden Ott. Yeah, and then Jaden Ott's now at Oklahoma. Yeah. Somebody got in his ear real quick because that happened instantly. You heard, all right, Jaden Ott's going to transfer. Like the next day, he was in Oklahoma. Like,
yeah, and that was the one person who I predicted to have a good year for them that year too.
Yeah, so it's tough to like see the direction of Cal because they were trending upward prior to this year, and it didn't look good. And I don't off like going off right now. I don't see it trending up at all. If anything, I see it going down. And even in the ACC, I see middle of the pack at the best. Floor is at the bottom. I don't see them competing for top spots in ACC championship contention no time soon.
I don't either. I see them going. I right now, if we were to predict their record, I would see them winning as many games as they won last year, or worse.
Or worse, yeah. I'm right there with you. But I like Justin Wilcox, and I don't want this to affect his job security either. That's the thing. Like, I think he gets these boys ready to play every week, and I think he should be loved by the Cal fan base. I hope they don't turn on him, but a lot of it's kind of out of his control.
Yeah, you got to work with what you got. That's just the name of the game in college.
Yep. So we're gonna move on from Cal. We're gonna move on to Clemson. That other team in South Carolina. Clemson, led by Dabo Swinney, they did do what I said they would do this year. I did predict Clemson to win the ACC championship this year, and they did just that, escaping SMU, I should say, with that last-minute field goal, which that was a deep field goal. I predicted Clemson to go 11-1, 8-0, only loss being to Georgia. They did lose to Georgia, but they did have other losses, including Louisville, which was a very dominant loss. Louisville dominated them in that game. They lost 33-21. And they did lose to South Carolina off a last-minute Lenore Sellers touchdown. Hey, that was my dog of the week that week. Definitely got that right.
Oh, that dog.
Yeah.
I called it. I told you. I said I think South Carolina is going to get them, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and I see. Shout out Shane Beamer, man. He's changing the program. I know I must have to do that later on, like a couple weeks, but I got to give South Carolina some love, man. Shane Beamer and the boys. I feel like South Carolina football is getting rejuvenated, and I love it. But They went 9-3, 7-1. They did win the ACC championship, 34-31, but they did lose in the first round of the college football playoffs to Texas, 38-24. And I think the score was not indicative of the game. The game, Texas dominated them in every facet of the game in that game.
Every facet.
But I got 10 games right, 2 games wrong. Obviously, the 2 games wrong, I got with Louisville and South Carolina. I thought they would win in the preseason. Really didn't expect much from South Carolina in the preseason. But yeah, I will say this: Clemson, they're always going to be legit on defense, no matter what. Dabo Swinney's going to have a defense. It's been the same, even with Brent Venables being gone. He's going to have a defense. Offensively, I don't want to say it, but I might have to say it. Cade Klubnik is getting overrated a lot. I've seen a lot of people saying that he's QB1 in college football next year.
Oh my goodness, I saw that too.
Yeah, I think he had a pretty good year.
They got him and Drew Aller as like the top 2 quarterbacks in college
Yeah, I
football
saw that.
I'm like, what?
I saw that. That's crazy. I won't say that he didn't have a good year. I think he had a pretty good year. I think he had a better year passing than he has had in years past. But I mean, that's it. I don't see QB1. I don't think I'm not sure if he's better than Sam Levitt. I'm sorry, not sorry. John Mateer is really good now at Oklahoma. We have yet to see what Arch Manning could do. Cade Klubnik is cool, but QB1 is just crazy to me. But yeah, my biggest takeaway from Clemson season is they're going to have a defense. Back to you, Dave. Talk to me about Clemson.
Yep. I mean, I only had 2 games wrong. Out of this, I had their record correct. I had the record at 9-3, and their regular season record was 9-3. And man, when you look at their recruiting help, and like I said, their defense was always going to be what it was. Even without any transfers, they still got to the ACC championship game, got to the college football playoffs. So that worked into Dabo Swinney's favor, not having no transfer like that, because you got continuity with all his players. And out of the 3 losses I had, only had 2 of them right, and that was the Georgia loss in South Carolina. I was wrong with FSU, and I was wrong with the Louisville game. I thought that they would win that game, and they lost. So.
I did too.
So that was it. So most of the W's I pretty much got right, except for them beating FSU. So that's the only thing.
All right, go ahead for me, Ace.
Yeah, so I predicted Clemson at 11-1, 8-0 in the conference. They ended up 9-3. What was it? 7-1 in the conference.
7-1, yeah.
Yeah. So not that far off. Again, I had the same ones wrong as you guys. I didn't have South Carolina beating them, and I didn't have Louisville beating them.
Dave had South Carolina winning.
Well, Dave had South Carolina, but beyond that, I think this season was like a success for them, though, especially for Dabo Swinney. You win the conference, everybody's already talking bad about you before the season starts. They thinking that he's lost his juice. He doesn't participate in the transfer portal. Then he goes out there and he does the exact same thing he does every year. He finds a way, It's like that's got to give you like so much confidence, and it's got to like help his recruiting, if anything. You know what I mean? All those kids out there that probably are like going to small schools and stuff like that. It feels like that's who he gets, like just those rugged, just small school kids that just ball out. You know what I mean? It's like even though it's not the same as the past Clemson teams, it's not as flashy, but it's still pretty. They're still pretty rugged. Like they have a ruggedness about them. They'll pop you in the mouth. You know what I mean? And I think that gets you pretty far. You know what I mean? All the best teams in the nation can do that to you. So it's kind of like their bread and butter. They just play with an attitude. Even though yes, Louisville did dominate them that game, and yeah, Georgia did knock them around for sure.
Well, everybody's seen the Georgia game coming.
Yeah, but they're still but they're still up there when you think about like just premier programs. You know what I mean? Like it still doesn't take much away from them. Of course,
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think they're a premier ACC program. I don't know if they're a premier program anymore. Like gone are the days where Clemson are talked about to make the national championship. If this was a 14-team playoff, Clemson doesn't even come close.
No.
So
No.
I think they're a premier ACC program, but I
Yeah,
don't
but
think they're a
also
premier
the
program
ACC is
anymore.
not that. Like the ACC isn't that.
And
conference
you
either,
get where I'm getting
you know
at.
what I mean, so it's like I do feel that, but they're still talked about like it's still at the top. Like conference winners and just they're just on a different level of other teams when you talk about like across the nation. Like they may not be national title contenders, but they're still going to be like mentioned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I feel you on that. I mean, if Notre Dame would stop playing and join the ACC, I would love to see, Clemson still remains
Yeah.
on top of the ACC. But here's my thing, right? And I remember
I
you said
wouldn't.
this best. Why?
I don't like Clemson. I want Miami to be at the top. I don't
No,
care about Clemson.
I get what you're saying. I don't want to see either one of them. I don't want to see Notre Dame if they join the ACC or Clemson at the
Yeah.
top. What I'm saying is I want to see if they'll still be one of the premier ACC teams, because they've been winning ACC titles out the wazoo lately.
That's true.
Like it's been them and Florida State, and Florida
Pretty
State ain't
much.
got that many.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
But I mean, it's a new day. SMU's walking around here now. You know what I'm saying? Mario can still recruit like a mug. You know what I'm saying? So it's
He doing his thing right now.
he
But we're gonna get to
continues to do
y'all.
that.
We're gonna get to y'all. We're gonna get to y'all. We're gonna get to y'all. And I mean, Rhett Lashley, he's doing his thing. He got to recruit a little bit more, I think, size. But this is what I'm saying about Clemson, right? And I remember this is gonna go back to you. I remember Ace was like during championship week, he didn't want Clemson to win because he was tired of Dabo not getting in the recruiting transfer portal. And he knows if he won, he gonna be walking around like I don't need no transfer portal. I'm still gonna do me.
And that's exactly what we doing, bro.
I gotta respect it now.
I know Nick Saban is somewhere like, yes, we still got one of us left because Nick Saban is out of there. He's not dealing with that portal no more.
For sure.
Hey,
But,
Saban definitely happy now. Y'all heard what happened to Saban too?
I heard Saban trying to call on Trump to like change NIL. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, he got named the president.
Oh, I did see that.
Commission studying
that.
college sports. So
I saw that.
They about to get NIL so quick.
It's not gonna happen. One more thing I want to say about Clemson, right? I think it's so funny. Their first I don't even want to say transfer recruit, but like they got Ian Shefflin from the basketball team. He's now on the football team. I think that's so funny. Like, bro, you don't want to hit the transfer portal, but you're gonna hit the basketball team. Like, bro, I need him. I don't even know what he's playing. I want to say he's playing tight end, but he's like 7 feet.
What else is he gonna be?
I don't know. He's 7 feet. Like, I feel like that's excessively tall for football.
Because he don't have the speed to be a wide receiver.
No.
Everybody can't on there Washington.
And I don't think he could bend or anything to be a DN. So like yeah, he's playing tight end.
Or is he gonna be an offensive lineman? Maybe.
No. I think he's getting bullied in them trenches.
Yeah, he not. He is a basketball player. He ain't wide enough.
I don't know if he's playing no tackle or guard. But yeah, Clemson, man. Dabo Swinney sticking to his guns. BYOG, bring your own guts, as he like to say. Got an ACC championship, man. You can't do nothing but respect it.
Right.
You said forget really that portal. One thing I do want to talk about real quick. Avion Terrell look like his brother, man. Avion Terrell looking just like his brother, man. He like that at that corner position, man.
Straps.
Yeah, he looking just like his brother. But we gonna move on from Clemson.
Portal.
You said what?
Hopefully he hit the transfer portal.
Bro, I already know where you going with that, bro. Stop what you doing. I already know what you doing, bro.
Yeah,
he ain't leaving Dabo.
Come on over there.
You want some money?
If you do,
leave, to you.
Hey, and Michigan State's desperate. They might throw whatever they need for you, bro. Hey,
go get out. Go get out.
Starts with an M. You know M. What else starts with an M? Millions.
Money.
So does Michigan State. No. Hey, but shout out my boy Teddy. He said, "What up, fellas?" Shout out my boy Teddy. We're gonna move on to Duke.
Hey, I know this is random, but last time when we did the show and Joe said what's up to both of us, we both did this at the same exact time.
we just synced up, man. That's all it is.
Just in sync, man. That's all it.
Back it, right? Just walk through. You ain't gonna be seen. All right, so next we got Duke. Duke had a good year. They did lose.
Yeah, shout out Manny.
Oh my God, why can't I think of his name right now? He went to Texas A&M. Why can't I think of his
Murphy.
name right now? Mike Elko. Mike Elko did leave. He went to Texas A&M. And comes Manny Diaz. from Penn State defensive coordinator by way of Miami. They were coming off a 7-5, 4-4 season. But they did win a bowl game against Troy, beloved Troy. Shout out my boy. He fumbled the American League, John Summerall. They definitely fumbled at Tulane. But that's neither here nor there. I had Duke going 5-7, 2-6, and boy, was I wrong. Malik Murphy came in. I think Malik Murphy was solid at quarterback, but I want to say the receiver play between Jordan Moore and Eli Pankel. Huh? Yeah, Jordan Moore and Eli Pankel, man, that receiver play there was pretty elite for college football. Jordan Moore could get you any type of catch you want, contested, catching traffic. He was really good for Duke last year. And Eli Pankel was more of like a speedy guy for Duke.
Carl, what you said that record was?
No, last year, not this year that they just had, but the year before we did our preview. Oh. I haven't said that record for what they just did, but they were 75, 4-4 on Elko's last year. I'm getting to what they did this year. But yeah, Duke was very good defensively the year prior with Elko. I still think they had a pretty good defense this year. I think they were one of the better defenses in the ACC this year for sure. And none of it was more evident than the Northwestern game. That was a defensive slugfest. I took the under in that game and lost because it went to double overtime, but that's neither here nor there. But they were a pretty good defense. Duke, I had them beating Elon. They won. I had them losing to Northwestern. They should have lost. Actually, they scored a touchdown late in the game to tie it, to go in overtime. They beat Northwestern at Northwestern. They beat UConn, which I had them beating UConn. Excuse me. Beat Middle Tennessee State, which they did. I had them winning. I had them losing to UNC. They won that game by 1 point. I had them losing to Georgia Tech, which they did lose. I had them beating Florida State, which they won. I had them losing to SMU. They lost. I had them losing to Miami Hurricanes. They lost. I had them losing to NC State. They actually won 29-19. I had them losing to Virginia Tech. They won 31-28. And I had them beating Wake Forest. So they ended up going 9-3, 5-3, losing in the Gator Bowl to Ole Miss in blowout fashion. Ole Miss won 52-20. I had 8 games right, 4 games wrong with an 8-4 record predicting their season. Ace, talk to me about Duke.
Yeah, I think Duke had a really good season. I think it's definitely something to build on. I love Manny Diaz, so I think anything that he does, I'm definitely a fan of it, even if it's in my conference. I'm not sure if Malik Murphy is going to be there next year or if he has competition.
He lost. I mean, he's left. Darian Mensah is now the quarterback there from Tulane. He was like one of the immediate transfers.
Right. I think I do remember that actually.
Yeah, he was like at a Duke game like right after the season was over.
Yeah. But overall though, Duke had a pretty good season. I mean, they went to the wire with SMU, going to overtime with that. They played us pretty tough in the first half. If it wasn't for like a couple of key turnovers from Malik Murray, I think it was like 3 interceptions and a fumble or something like that. That didn't happen. They're still pretty much in that game. I mean, I don't think they was putting up 50 like we did, but either way. I had them predicted to go 6-6, 3-5. Like you said, they actually went 9-3, 5-3 in the conference. I mean, that's a pretty much a win, man. They beat pretty much everybody that they were supposed to. I mean, Georgia Tech was a tough team to play this year, so it's like there's no shame in that loss. No shame in that loss. No shame in losing to SMU. I don't think anybody really expected them to play like quality ball like they did. Like they had a pretty stout defense. They were a pretty balanced team. Like you said, the wide receivers, they were a great tandem. They made plays. Malik Murphy could extend the field. It was pretty nice to see.
Dave?
Yeah, it was nice to see. I had them going 6-6, so I was 2 games off.
3 games. They won 9.
Nah, I thought they won. Oh, that's right. They lost the ball game. That's right.
Yeah.
So, they went 9-3. The games I got right were Elon, UConn, Middle Tennessee State, UNC, the Georgia Tech loss, the SMU loss, Miami loss, and the last 2 games between Virginia Tech and Wake Forest. I had them winning both of those. But NC State, they beat them. I had them losing that game. I mean, I had them losing to FSU, but I'm glad they beat them. And Northwestern. Carl, like you said, that Northwestern game, I remember watching that game. I really thought Northwestern was going to pull it out in the end, and then it just didn't go that way.
That game was so crazy because like Duke got like I think a crazy conversion like off a catch that was close to not being a first down, but it was a first down, and then they went and got the go-ahead touchdown, I think on like a post route. And then I do remember I think Cam Carter of Northwestern had like a really good game, but in like overtime they kind of shut him down, I guess. But that game was crazy.
I think it was double overtime.
Yeah. But I think he scored on his first touchdown in overtime and double OT. They stopped him. Oh, Cam Porter, excuse me. But yeah, man. This is what I'll say about Duke. 9-3 for Duke football is amazing. You'll take that 9 times out of 10 for Duke. I think you'll take 7-5, 8-4 if you're Duke. To be completely honest,
absolutely.
Duke is a basketball school. As evident as they went to the Final Four this year. But both of y'all are Duke fans too. That's actually hilarious. But in basketball,
right?
For real?
Yeah, I ain't gonna.
He's not tapped in like that, but he's a Duke fan.
I ain't gonna front like I'm the biggest Duke fan, but I do. In past years, I was tapped in. I wasn't super tapped.
Well, you need to tap back in, my guy. You need to tap back.
I know they got the Boozer twins coming.
They didn't know we got. My boy Isaiah Evans is back this year too.
Yeah, I mess with bro. I hope he gets. I hope he starts this year.
I think he will.
But back to Duke football. Really good season. Like I said, a really good defense, which you expect that with Manny Diaz being the defensive head coach. I think pulling off a transfer like Darian Mensah, that might lead to, people might want to come to Duke. It started with Riley Leonard, which I don't remember Riley Leonard being heavily recruited. I think he more so got it out the mud. But then you get a Malik Murphy from Texas. Now you got Darian Mensah from Tulane, who had a spectacular freshman year. You just got to be able to maintain. I think they did lose both their receivers. So you gotta replace that. But man, I'm interested in looking forward to watching Duke next year. I do like the direction the program is going. I think they are trending upward. Maybe we could see them fighting for an ACC title in recent years to come. But I'm excited for Duke's football program.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. I think that if you give Manny time, like this is the thing, and this is why I always had a kind of a sour taste in my mouth with how Miami did Manny. Manny is a really good coach, and all his teams trend upward. Like he makes like the teams fun for them, and they play hard for him. You know what I mean? Like the turnover chain stuff aside, like that was like a gimmicky, but when you look at it, he makes tough football teams. They defensively super tough, you know what I mean? They make you earn everything that you get. And sure, offensively they may not always be the greatest, but that's just nothing but a coordinator away, you know?
Yeah.
And you go and you at Duke, like even though Duke may not be a football school, it's a prestigious school, you know what I mean? So you're going to get smart kids, and if you get smart kids, you get dedicated kids, and that's just a snowball effect.
Yeah, and the thing with Duke, if you become one of the better programs in North Carolina, you might start to steal some of them North Carolina State, recruits. Because I think North Carolina State, in the state of North Carolina, gets the best recruits. Then it's probably like North Carolina, then Duke, and then Wake Forest gets probably the scraps. Sorry, Wake Forest, but that's just the way it is. But
or they go to South Carolina or something.
Hey, we don't get the scraps beat.
No, I'm not talking about the scraps. I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, they either going to South Carolina or Clemson. That's where they're going. They're going to one of those two.
Yeah, so I think if we talking about the South Carolinas, I ain't gonna lie. I think Clemson probably get the best recruits. Then probably South Carolina, then NC State. But I think Duke can kind of work their way into getting some of these recruits that NC State normally gets. And with the basketball team being so good, you can be like, look, football season over. Go right here, watch the Blue Devils.
Course, yeah, it's lit.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what Duke does in years to come. Now, on to Ace and Dave's favorite team, Florida State Seminoles. We're going to review the Florida State Seminoles.
Favorite losers.
Florida State, man. They were coming off a 13-0 season, ACC champs, but they lost a lot. But in come what everybody thought was the savior. We're going to still be good. In comes DJ Ungalale. and I know I mispronounced that. Sorry. And I tried to tell y'all at the beginning of the year, I was so out on DJ to start the season. It's ridiculous. I kind of felt bad how out I was with him. But then I watched him play and said, nope, this is exactly why I'm out on him like the way I am. He had a terrible year. And Pops, if you somehow come across this, do not try to get mad at me like you be getting mad at everybody else. I'm just speaking the truth. I didn't go crazy. I ain't call him none of them names. I just say he had a bad year and I was out on him.
DJ,
Please
you
do
need a
not come at
job.
me. Bro, he had a horrible year. He did. And I'm not blaming receivers. He was late on throws, missed throws, bad decisions.
He was trash. Just be honest. He was trash.
It was a bad year. And I seen it coming. I didn't see 2-10, 1-7, which is what they went. I thought they would go 6-6, 4-4. I had them beating Georgia Tech. They lost that game in Dublin week 0, 24-21. I had them beating Boston College. They lost 28-13. They actually started off 0-3. I had them beating Memphis. They lost 20-12. Shout out to Memphis. I think they won the American. I had them beating Cal, which they won. I had them losing to SMU, Clemson, Duke, and Miami, which they were all losses. Had them beating UNC. They lost 35-11 to UNC. 11 points. UNC does not play defense. Had them losing to Notre Dame. Clearly lost that game. I had them beating Charleston Southern and losing to Florida. So I had 8 games right, 4 games wrong, and the 4 games I got wrong were wins I thought they were going to win. So I'm not going to say too much about Florida State. They were abysmal. They were terrible. They were pretty solid. If they had any bright spot, it was possibly defense, but offensively just absolutely horrid. And now, is it Mike Norvell? I think it is Mike Norvell. He went from being safe in Florida State to right back on the hot seat. I'm gonna let y'all can go at it. I ain't even gonna say who go first. Y'all go at it. I know
Ace,
it's a
you
rival.
go first. You go
All
first.
right. Well, I'm gonna keep it brief. These guys stink, and I love to see it. You know what I mean? Nothing makes me happier than to see Florida State play like trash, like the trash that they are. Rather, I mean, I had them going 8-4. And those 4 losses would have been to SMU, Clemson, us, and Florida. I mean, I'm sorry, Notre Dame.
I was about to say, it's no way you had them beat Notre Dame.
Sorry. However, they performed like a dream. Like, I don't think I could have asked for anything better than what they've done. You know, I think that whatever they did this year, they need to do it again. You know what I mean? Even if it's the same people. Like, I wish they could just have tapes of everybody's day, every single thing they did, and they could just repeat it.
Y'all know who their quarterback is this year, right?
Castellanos? You think I'm scared of Thomas Castellanos?
Brad, I said that for a reason. I'm just giving y'all more ammo. Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. They lost to Florida by 20 points. They got dubbed. They lost to Boston College by 49. I mean, Notre Dame, I'm sorry, by 49 points. They lost to Boston College.
Hey, hold on, bro. Don't say they lost to Boston College and go like this, because I get offended. All right, bro. We lost to Boston College. Relax.
Look. It's not about y'all. Look, y'all are marginally better than Florida State.
Yeah, I think so too. But don't, just don't go. I'm cool with everything you saying so far, but they lost to Boston College. I'm like, oh, bro, we lost to Boston College. Relax.
I wasn't thinking about that, part. All I'm saying is they belong in the bottom of the shoe, and that's where I hope they stay.
Trash, basura, garbage. They stink. They suck. I'm glad that they were as bad as they were last year. You know, that's the FSU version of what Cat Ward did. Crab does this. They stink, man.
Lord,
man, all those losses. They lost to Memphis. That was crazy to me.
I only see that as crazy because coming off the year they had, Memphis is always a pretty good school in my opinion.
Yeah, it's Florida State. I thought Florida State.
They lost at home.
Yeah, they lost at home, and they lost. They were 0-2. They needed that win. Back was against the wall, and Ungalele had another stinker.
I think the only surprising game for me, just because of how the season went, was they only beat Cal and Charleston. That's it.
The Cal was a low scoring game. I think it was like what
14
13
and
and 9 or 13. Yeah,
14 and 9.
I don't know how Cal lost.
I don't know how they lost that game
I don't
either.
know how it's possible that they played us the way that they played us and then lost to them.
Well, I know how it's possible they put up a bunch of points against y'all. I'm sorry, but we know how it's possible they put up a bunch of points.
Good thing people got fired.
We'll cross that bridge.
Yeah, but
they stink, man. And and although I don't like Notre Dame, I like seeing the two teams I despise the most go at each other, and I like that Florida State got the bad end of the stick and they lost 52-3.
You do have to say what you predicted them going, Dave.
I did. I predicted them. I thought that they were going to go 10-2, and they were the total opposite of that. They were 2-10. Total opposite of that. So even though I was wrong, I'm happy I was wrong. So
you said that in the previous show. You was like, man, I hope I'm wrong, but you just try to keep it real, and I respect you for it.
Mm-hmm. I tried, but hey, they stink.
Yeah. I'm gonna let y'all get it all off, man. Hey, we'll move on to Georgia Tech when y'all finish.
That smell, oh my God, is it a Seminole?
That's Florida State. That's what you smell,
man. Hey, man, it
smells like somebody tried their best.
I was almost about to say a joke, but I don't want to get my show canceled, so we're just gonna keep it moving. But yeah, man, Mike Norvell is right back on the hot seat. I know Florida State fans are probably calling for a job still to this day. I don't think that's fair. He do gotta hold some of that though, because he did bring DJ in, so he do gotta hold some of that. But
yeah, but that's because they were in the Cam Ward sweepstakes. You know what I'm saying? They had all their chips in on Cam Ward, but somebody else came in with the bigger stick, and we whacked the competition. You know what I mean? And we did.
I don't even remember them being in contention, to be honest. I thought it was like either y'all or the draft.
No, they were in it, but I think
it was us. It was honestly us or Ohio State. That's who it was. It was between us and Ohio State.
Imagine Ohio
You
State
saw what Will Howard said earlier? Will Howard was talking about some, Miami was coming at me, but they were throwing the money, and he was talking about some, but I wanted to compete for a championship. I wanted to extend my
Boy, you had Jeremiah Smith. I want to hear that. Boy, trash,
boy, you went in the 6th round.
Cam Ward did what you wanted to do.
Went? He went first, nigga. What you talking about?
Whoa, Ace. You know you got a little carried away, bro. I need you to calm. You at a 10. I need you back down. I need you back down.
I was doing so good too.
I felt that.
Calm down. I was like, what you saying, boy? You won that funky championship, and now you think you could just talk about, we just throwing money around. We not throwing money around. We developing people.
Y'all gave Carson back $4 million. He's not all the way wrong.
Listen. I can't justify that.
He's not all the way wrong.
That's my decision to make. That's my decision to make.
Look at what's around him. Look at all that. Look at what's around him.
No, I get you. I feel you wholeheartedly. He got carried to a natty. I 100% believe that. But now he's your quarterback. How do you feel about that?
I feel like the sky's the limit.
Wait. Let's talk about that.
No. He's his quarterback. He's a Steelers fan.
You talking about? I thought you talking about Carson back.
No, I'm talking about Will Howard.
Hey, listen, man. Hey, sky's the limit.
Okay. I saw your Instagram story yesterday.
That wasn't about Will Howard, though.
Yeah, okay.
No, it wasn't. It was about George Pickens. We gonna move on. All right, I'll let y'all get y'all Florida State slander out. Mike Norvell, prayers, bro. I hope Castellanos works out for you, because if he don't, you're cooked.
I don't think Mike Norvell's a bad coach, though. I will say that.
You said you don't?
Yeah, I think he's decent.
I don't think he's a bad coach either, but he's at Florida State, and they're just going to look like he's Jordan Travis made. They're going to be like, well, without Jordan Travis, you ain't really done nothing. And they're not wrong.
Man. Did you see he had to medically retire?
Yeah.
That's pretty sad, man.
Yeah, I mean, when an ankle takes you out to where you couldn't play like weeks in, and then he re-aggravated in the NFL. Like, yeah,
I think so.
It sucks though. I was a Jordan Travis fan, but
yeah, he was decent for sure.
You gotta do best for your health. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of people going to say Mike Norvell was Jordan Travis made. His best 2 years were with Jordan Travis. Beyond Jordan Travis, he hasn't really done much. They're not wrong, but Florida State also didn't have much around any other quarterback except for Jordan Travis. So It's like, but then they're going to be like, we're Florida State. You should be able to reload. And they're not wrong there either. So, and they gave him a lot of money, I think. So he got to produce something this year or he's gone.
Once he lost Travis Hunter, everything just...
That wasn't his fault though, and they're going to continuously blame him for that. That's right. He went to Dion.
It's prime. Yeah, it's prime. What can you do?
But we're going to move on to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech. I love Coach Key. I say it a lot. He's one of those guys. He's going to have his boys ready to play. He's going to bring the energy, and he's honestly turning Georgia Tech around. Now, here's something I didn't think I was going to say. I love Haynes King. I didn't think I would say it. I think I might like Haynes King a lot. I'm not gonna lie. That's another guy I probably would put over Cade Klubnik. Haynes King. No BS. Like I'm not joking. I might put Haynes King over Cade Klubnik. Especially if he turned the turnovers down this year. If he could keep going in that direction, because he ain't had 16 picks 2 years ago. He wasn't that. But
I don't know if I'm gonna put him over.
Look, man. Yeah, I don't think Haynes King throw better.
He's more athletic than Cade. The only thing Cade Klubnik does better is take care of the football better. And
so
he throws better than him too.
So he what? Anthony Richardson?
No. Whoa. He's athletic, but he ain't that athletic. And he's not inaccurate either.
You said he athletically better.
Yeah, the Cade Klubnik. I ain't saying he's the best athlete at quarterback.
Anthony Richardson. It's like,
I'm saying compared to him. I'm saying compared to him. That's
hold on now, brother. And I think Haynes King is pretty accurate with a football. He just likes to put it in danger sometimes. That's all. But I mean, we seen Haynes King in that Georgia game. He had a phenomenal game.
But this is the thing. Haynes King only threw 2 interceptions this year. So
that's what I'm saying. If he could trend in that direction, I'm putting him over Cade Klubnik. You heard it from me first. Sorry, not sorry. I think, and this is from a guy who was not really high on Haynes King. Yeah. I might be a Haynes King fan now. No, ain't no Mike. I am a Haynes King fan now, bro. Yeah, I'm a Haynes King fan, bro. I'm sorry.
You on your own. You are on your own.
I could be there. I can be there.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say you on your own. I do respect Haynes King just because of what he's done to us. I respect him. But
the first year is still y'all fault. That's y'all fault.
For sure. but yeah, he not better than Cade, bro. That's
I'm going there. I'm sorry. All right, I'm gonna ask y'all this, and then we can get to the Georgia Tech. What has Cade Klubnik really done?
He hasn't taken the steps that he's supposed to take, that people expect him to take. But I mean, he still had a decent season, though, bro. Like, Cade Klubnik threw for like 3,000 yards. What do you mean? Like,
he had a cool year, but I've seen Haynes King throw for like 3,000 too, and I've seen him add rushing yards and rushing touchdowns on top of it. I think Haynes King 2 years ago had like 15 rushing touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah, he's definitely better at running for sure. Cade Klubnik had 3,600 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions.
He had a cool year. I'm not gonna lie.
Cool year.
All right, hold on. All right, he had a good year. He had a good year.
Come on.
He had a good year. I might be hating. He had a good year.
The jump from this year to last year, he had 1,200 more yards than the year before.
He had a good year. But
almost 20 more touchdowns.
Let me look at Haynes King year, and mind you, Haynes King got hurt.
I think he did.
He did. Because I want to say against Jaw, he was like he didn't play fully. He was like a decoy.
No, yeah. He wasn't throwing. They was just running all over.
Yeah. Haynes King this year, while injured.
They used 2 quarterbacks in that game.
Jamal Haynes,
running back. Yeah. He had 2,100 yards, 14 touchdowns, 2 picks. Injury in this year. And then
I mean, that's a decent year though. Like you can't be mad at that. Like that's efficient. That's very efficient.
Especially after he had
that's the Colin Kaepernick type year.
For sure.
Especially after he had 2,800, 27, and 16 the year before. So dropping from 16 to 2 picks. It's very great. And then he had 587 rushing yards, 11 rushing touchdowns this year. So.
And almost 5 yards a pop. I mean,
dual threat guy, man. But I mean, if you don't want to put him over Cade, I'm not mad at you, but I might be putting him over Cade.
I respect him. And I respect Brent Key. I really do like Georgia Tech a lot. I think that
Yeah,
even though they lost Eric Singleton, like this is a team. Like if they continue to get
that was
like
my guy.
people from like maybe like Alabama or the top tier programs, they get those guys who weren't necessarily playing, or they get some guys with like chip on their shoulders. They can like maintain the talent that they have. Like they be all right, man.
Mhm.
They're gonna
Yeah,
make some noise.
they get some good transfers coming from schools and stuff that from guys not playing. I think
Yeah,
they
like
can,
last year or the year that just passed, excuse me, they got Romello Height. That was a good transfer. And then
Yeah,
they got Amari Harvey, cornerback from Louisville. I feel like that was a good transfer. They did lose Kyle Kennard though. He went to South Carolina, had a great year, got drafted this year. Shout out to him. But if they can, like y'all said, get some big time transfers, which Key has been doing, they'll be
right.
trending in the right direction. And I do think Georgia Tech is trending in the right direction. I had them going 66, 4-4 in conference. They actually went 7-5, 5-3 in conference. I had them again losing to Florida State, which they won 24-21. Had them beating Georgia State, which they won. I had them beating Syracuse, and they lost, which they almost came back. Syracuse was like dominating that game. Georgia Tech almost came back, but Syracuse got like a key first down to ice the game. I had them beating Virginia Military Institute, which they won. Had them losing to Louisville, they lost. Beating Duke, beating UNC, losing to Notre Dame, losing to Virginia Tech. I had them losing to Miami. I thought Miami would get back this year. They actually won 28-23. And I had them beating NC State and losing to Georgia, which they lost to Georgia in like 8 overtimes or 6 overtimes, one of those two.
Game of the year.
Yeah, legit game of the year. So they finished 7-5, 5-3. I had them. I had 9 games right, 3 games wrong. They did lose the Birmingham Bowl to Vanderbilt, and Diego Pavia, who came out of nowhere with Vandy, had a good year, probably a great year to Vanderbilt standards.
heck yeah.
Yeah, but Georgia Tech, man, Haynes King, I'm interested to see what he does this year, 3rd year at Georgia Tech. They, like you said, lost Eric Singleton, which was huge at wide receiver for them. I think they had one of the better receiving corps in the country. Was it Justin Lane? No, not Justin Lane. Excuse me. It's Eric Singleton. I'm forgetting they had another guy on the other side. It was really good. Was it Justin Lane? Let me do my Googles real quick.
You saw a wide receiver.
Yeah, Justin Lane was Virginia Tech.
They had Mari Bryce, Eric Rivers.
Malik Rutherford. There we go. That's the one I was thinking of. Malik Rutherford. But they had Lane too. But I can't remember. Is it Chase Lane? I want to say Chase Lane. Yeah, Chase Lane. A nice little receiving core. Jamal Haynes in that backfield was tough. And the defense led by Kyle Eifert.
Well,
You said what?
And receiving as well for Jamal Haynes. He made some plays every past the game.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He was just a tough back. And then you had Kyle Eifert, leader of the defense, with the neck roll, looking like a old school linebacker. The defense was pretty solid. The new defensive coordinator came in. He was really solid this year. I think he's going to help them trend in the right direction at Georgia Tech defensively. I love what I see from Georgia Tech. I hope Haynes King has a Heisman-esque. I don't know if he's going to win a Heisman, but I want him to have a Heisman-esque season. I'm telling y'all, man, I wasn't even a fan of Haynes King at first, but I like Haynes King now, bro. I'm sorry, not sorry. Dave, go ahead. Talk to me about Georgia Tech.
Yeah, so I had Georgia Tech going 5-7 last year. So I was 2 games off. I was wrong about the Florida State game. They beat them by 3. They beat Georgia State, so I was right about that one. Wrong about the Syracuse game because Syracuse won that one. They beat VMI, of course. Knew that was going to happen. I knew they were going to lose to Louisville. They beat Duke, which I predicted as well, and beat UNC back to back. So I had them win both of those games. And then they lost to Georgia Tech, lost to Virginia Tech, lost to
Notre Dame. You said Georgia Tech.
All in Notre Dame. They lost to Notre Dame, lost to VTech, beat us, then beat NC State, and then lost a close game to Georgia. That Georgia game was really, really good for Haynes King and Georgia Tech. They nearly won that game against Georgia. So, and I think that was no, that's not the game I'm thinking about, but that was a game that I was like, wow. Like,
and the thing was,
I was like, I'm not even mad that we lost to them now because they almost beat Georgia.
No, you still should be mad about that one. That was crazy. Yeah, I couldn't stop the run. But
I mean, we couldn't stop a nosebleed. So
that is true. But normally it's the pass game that began. Y'all couldn't stop the run at all. And it was like very evident. Excuse me, obvious they were gonna run. Yeah.
That's all they did.
Yeah, it was like real obvious they was going to run the football. But I want to say, real quick, the Georgia game, not a lot of people knew if Haynes King was going to be healthy in that game. And then, like, it looked like he wasn't even injured at all. Like, it just looked like, all right, Georgia game here, body's 100%. Let's go.
Yeah, he put it all on the line. You know, he was the leading passer in the game, leading rusher in the game. Lord knows how many touchdowns he had. You know,
Yeah, he went crazy.
he definitely put it out there. You got to respect it, man. Like we were saying earlier, this is going to be a program that's going to be around for a while, and they're going to be able to compete, and they're going to mess up some people's seasons every year. You know, I had them predicted at 4-8, 1-7 in the conference. Obviously, I was wrong about that. They went where they go 7-5.
7-5. I want to say 3-5.
5-3. 5-3 in the conference. The games that I got wrong, obviously, was ours. I believe Florida State as well. But I mean, you know, other than that, I respect this team. I don't like this team, and I definitely want to beat them next year.
Do y'all play next year?
I don't know. Let me check.
I can Google it. Go ahead, keep talking. I'm gonna Google it.
No, we don't. Dang, we don't. They
No.
play Colorado. They
We
play
don't play-
Colorado.
Off rip. Yup, I see.
That's at Colorado right there. That's going to be
That's fun. That's gonna be a fun game to watch.
for sure.
Okay.
Another
Okay.
Georgia at home.
Did they always play Georgia?
Yeah,
In-state rivalry game.
yeah. I'm not mad at that. That's two cool games.
Yeah, that Colorado game is gonna be fun. I think opening week this year is gonna be fun. Just side note, but
Yeah,
Definitely is. We open up against Notre Dame, so I can't wait for
yeah.
that.
And South Carolina opens up with Virginia Tech, so that should be fun. But yeah, man, I love the Georgia Tech season. They were very fun to watch offensively. Defensively, I want to say they were middle of the pack. Just an average defense, maybe slightly above average, but offensively, very fun to watch. I do want to talk about what game was that? Was that NC State where they almost blew that game? I think CJ Bailey, I want to say, almost came back and won that game against them. Yeah, I want to say they almost blew the NC State game. Like right after playing y'all. That game was kind of interesting to watch. Felt like Georgia Tech should have won that game, but came very close to blowing it.
Yeah,
The most surprising one, obviously, was beating y'all. I would say that's their best win. But their best game was obviously the Georgia game. Just ended up on the wrong side of it.
Mm-hmm.
agreed.
Definitely.
All right. So we'll move on to Louisville, who was led by everybody's favorite quarterback, Tyler Shuck. Louisville.
New Orleans favorite quarterback.
They were coming off a 10-2 year, 7-1 in conference. They did lose the ACC championship in a close one to Florida State the year prior to our preview. In the preview, I had Louisville going 10-2, 7-1 as well, and I had them going back to the championship, playing Clemson and losing. They ended up going 8-4, 5-3, and winning the Sun Bowl against Washington, 35-34. Tyler Shuck. What can I say, man? I don't want to say he stunk because I feel like that's exaggeration, but he wasn't good. I wouldn't say that either. I would say he was okay, decent.
Yeah, almost he was all right.
And I mean, but it was like his 7th year in college. He was coming off getting hurt. Well, he got benched, I think, at first. I think he got hurt, and then I think he got benched for Baron Morton at Texas Tech. And then he left Oregon to go to Texas Tech before going to Texas Tech. But I do think the bright spot out of Louisville season was Isaac Brown, the freshman running back. What a bright spot he was. And Ja'Cory Brooks, transfer from Alabama receiver, another bright spot there. And another thing and great news for them for next year, Colin Lacey will be back with Louisville. He missed a lot at the beginning of the season with an injury, I think, in training camp. Him and Ja'Cory Brooks should be lethal next year with, I think, not Riley Moss. I want to say Miller Moss is now at Louisville now. So,
yeah.
Yep. Miller Moss is now at Louisville. I am interested to see what he does in that Louisville style offense. But last year, had him beating Austin Peay, which they won. I had him beating Jack State, they won. Had him beating Georgia Tech, they won. Had him losing to Notre Dame, they lost. Had him beating SMU, they lost 34-27. I want to say that was the game where they couldn't stop Rashard Smith. Had them beating UVA. They won. Had them beating Miami. They lost 52-45. Had them beating Boston College. I had them losing to Clemson. That was the game they dominated Clemson. Then, how do you dominate Clemson and lose to Stanford the next week? They lose to Stanford 38-35. I had them beating Stanford.
That flight, man.
I don't think it's the flight because Stanford doesn't. Oh my god. Whatever. I'll come back to it. I had them beating Pitt, which they won, and I had them beating Kentucky, which they won. Obviously, the most surprising loss on the schedule was Stanford, who had nothing. They had Alec Iomander, and that was pretty much it. Ashton Daniels was inconsistent as a quarterback. He's mainly a runner. Let's be honest. Was that Stanford with Ashton Daniels? No, not Stanford. Clemson. He drove him down the field and threw picks in the red zone like every time he got him down the field. I want to say that was Clemson-Stanford game.
I could believe that.
I don't understand how you dominate Clemson and lose to Stanford. I really don't understand that. But that's college football for you. That is college football for you. I will say that. Unexplainable. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Their best win of the season, obviously, to me, is beating Clemson, the ACC champs. That's their best win. I will say that Louisville had a really good season offensively. Like I said, finding Isaac Brown, the freshman running back, who looks like the running back of the future for Louisville. I will say Tyler Shuck didn't do a bad job coming in and replacing Jack Plummer. He kind of was Jack Plummer-esque, if we're being honest. But all in all, great year. I think 8-4, 5-3 is a good year for Louisville. I don't think Louisville is a school where you expect to go 10-2 and be competing for ACC championships every year. Like every so often, every 2-3 years competing for ACC championship, you'll take that because like you had Lamar, Teddy Bridgewater where they were top of the top, and then you had Malik Cunningham and Juwan Pass where they were pretty good quarterbacks for Louisville, but they weren't really competing for championships. Especially Malik Cunningham's last few years. I want to say they were like a 500 school or maybe 8-4-ish school with Malik Cunningham his last couple of years. But I think this is a solid year for Louisville. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I think this was a solid year for them too. In 2023, the year before, they were 7-1 in ACC play, 6-1 at home, 2-1 on the road. And this year, I mean, they still played pretty well. They still had a really good offense, which is kind of sort of what I thought that they would have this season, even with Tyler Show. And out of the games that I predicted from Louisville, I had to take notes on my phone and in paper. Beat Austin, of course. Won that one, beat Jackson State, beat Georgia Tech, lost in Louisville.
Jacksonville State,
yeah. Lost in Notre Dame.
That was a close game, though. I think they actually kind of Notre Dame tried to blow it, and then Louisville blew it like right back.
Yeah. Then they lost to SMU. I got that one wrong. They beat Virginia. Got that right. Lost to us. Got that right. They beat Boston College. Got that right. They beat Clemson. I had them losing that game. So. And then the only other one that I messed up on was them losing to Stanford, which I did not think that was going to happen. So that was the crazy loss out of that. So I got 1, 2, 3. I got 3 games wrong.
Yeah, my record and prediction was their record. I got 8 games right, 4 games wrong, 8-4. Ace.
I just want to start by saying I think that Jeff Brom is one of the best coaches in the nation.
Do I agree with you? Who would I put? One of the best might be a stretch.
In the nation?
He gets the most out of his players. Like, look.
I would say he's a really good coach, though.
Look what he did with Purdue. You know what I mean? Like
they suck now. Oh my god.
Exactly, man. He had like what he did at Purdue was like unheard of. Like Purdue never wins anything. You know what I mean? They go to the Big 12 champion. I mean, not Big 12, but Big 10 championship. Like
They did. They got smacked by Michigan, but they did make it.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like, this is a guy who knows how to get the most out of his players. He's a motivator. He definitely builds up his programs, and I'm interested to see what happens with him. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if Ja'Cory Brooks is coming back.
I think he is. I can
coming
Google
back.
it.
Brown coming back, you know what I mean, and Miller Moss. I think that's a pretty nice triple threat to move the ball and have some explosive plays. My prediction for them.
Shoot, Ja'Cory Brooks is in the league. He's on Washington. I was wrong.
Oh well, I take part of it back now, unless somebody replace
me too. I was wrong too.
Yeah. But I had them predicted at 8-4, 5-3, and that is what they were. However,
shout out to you.
Yeah, my wrong loss was Clemson. I thought they would lose to Clemson, and they lost to Stanford. But the other games I had right.
Nearly perfect. You got the record right, but I give you that. But me, a perfect record is predicting every win and loss. I be trying to aim for perfection.
Not perfect, but good enough.
Hey, what they say, a hood perfect? I give a hood perfect.
I'll take it.
But I see. I think one of the best is the stretch. But top 10, I think you got an argument for top 10.
One of the best is top 10.
You might have an argument for
top 10 coaches in the nation.
He might got an argument.
Look, he's really good, man. Like,
he might got an argument.
Total body of work he produces.
Like off top. Try to name 10.
Yeah, like
names. I mean,
he might got an argument. You got Kirby. You got Dabo. You got.
Are you putting Lane Kiffin up there?
I don't know. I might, but Lane Kiffin getting a lot of his due to like what he's doing with Ole Miss now. Like
head coach from Notre Dame, I'm putting him up there.
Marcus Freeman. I don't know if I'll put Marcus Freeman over Jeff Brom yet. I don't know. He's at Notre Dame. He get the talent. That's true. A lot of people were saying he was overrated until this past season.
What about Steve Sarkisian?
No. I'm not putting Sark over Jeff Brom.
I'm shocked.
I'm not. Kalen DeBoer. I might put Kalen DeBoer over Jeff Brom.
Yeah, I was thinking about him too. Kalen DeBoer.
I can see that.
Kalen DeBoer. You're right. You might have an argument.
I'm top 10. I might give you top 10 because I like Kalen. I like Dan Lanning. That's Oregon's head coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan Lanning. I like Kirby.
What about Penn State head coach?
James Franklin. James Franklin overrated, bro. When he played like top schools, he began done up. Like this year, he did really good. But like if you look at James Franklin's like actual records against like top opponents, he does good dominating teams he's supposed to dominate. Give him that. But
that don't mean nothing really.
A lot of people saying Ryan Day was overrated until he finally got the chip this year.
Yeah.
But I'm
could be.
I don't think you're gonna put that coach over him though.
The only reason why I won't put Jeff Brom over Ryan Day is because Ryan Day got the chip. If he didn't win this chip, I might put Jeff Brom over Ryan Day because Ryan Day gets far and way far beyond better talent than Jeff Brom does. It's not even close.
I mean, he had the best wide receiver. He had the best recruit in the class last year.
It's not even close between recruits and Jeff Brom getting what Ryan Day gets.
Heck no, not close at all. Not close.
And Ryan Day was another one where you see what was it, Lou Holtz? He went smack at Ryan Day because again, against opponents where they're like, all right, it's a top 10 matchup. Who gonna win? Like Ryan Day record wasn't that good. And so people was going at him because of it. Like Jeff Brom, like A said, he took Purdue to a Big Ten championship, although got smacked. He was at Purdue. Purdue don't get the talent that Michigan gets. Louisville, first year with Louisville, they go right to the ACC championship game.
Exactly. It's just like, what kind of driver are you? Are you getting in the car? Like, are you getting in a Lamborghini? You gonna drive it like a Lamborghini, or are you getting in a Mercedes and driving it like a Lamborghini? Can you get in a Honda and drive it like a Lamborghini? You know what I mean? It's like certain coaches like that. Like Mario can get in a Lamborghini and drive it like a Honda. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like certain people just get more out of stuff, more out of their players.
Yeah, that's why I got what he was saying.
I wasn't expecting you to do that to Mario, but that's fine.
I'm sorry.
That's fact, though.
I love
I understood.
Mario, and Mario is a great recruiter.
Because he can recruit like crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was
Coaching
telling
is
Ace
another thing.
before. He can recruit his butt off. But I understood what Ace was saying from the jump. One of the best I thought might have been a stretch, but I understood what he was saying from the jump. Like Jeff Braun does do a great job coaching, and I do think he's one of the most underrated coaches in the game. Like, I don't know. Would you put him over Kirk Cignetti? I might put Cignetti over Jeff Braun. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't know. I think I could put him over Cignetti.
I feel like it's personal preference between the two.
So would you say he's the Eric Spoelstra of college football?
Yeah.
Get the most out of his players?
Sure. Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
It's a decent comparison.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that. But yeah, he definitely is a really good head coach. I do think he's one of the head coaches that don't get talked about as much as he should be talked about. So I'm not mad at Ace bringing that up.
Okay. Actually, I think he might not be better than Cignetti.
That's what, bro. That's what I'm going Cignetti over Braun.
He might not be better than Cignetti.
But that's no disrespect to him, though.
Yeah, nah. But that's a nice comparison. Like they have very similar traits.
Yeah. Cignetti, man, that's my guy right there. I love Cignetti. Should have been a Michigan State coach, but we're gonna move forward.
Right.
To y'all team, I'm just wearing the jacket. The Hurricanes. Now, Miami, they came off a 7-5, 3-5 season. Not great. Lost the Pinstripe Bowl, but I had the year before this year we was doing. I had question marks at quarterback. So that was the reason.
Question marks.
That was the reason why y'all weren't as good as y'all were, and that question mark was answered by none other than Cam Ward. Decided to come to Miami instead of going to the draft, which honestly was the best decision he could have made. Went from a projected 5th round pick to the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, and went 10-2 and 6-2 while at Miami. None of it really been his fault why they lost them 2 games, if we're being completely honest. The Syracuse game, again, y'all fumbled. There's nothing he can do about that. And then Georgia Tech just couldn't stop the run. Now, I would say Georgia Tech was probably one of the games where you can look at and be like, all right, if he is to hold some blame, maybe that game he does deserve some of the blame. Because I want to say he did miss some throws in that Georgia Tech game. But the Syracuse one,
held the ball in key moments.
Yeah. The Syracuse game, though, it was just an offensive shootout, and it's just an unfortunate fumble. Defense couldn't get a stop. I want to say y'all had like an offsides. When y'all was about to get a stop, y'all caught an offsides. Yeah. Y'all was about to get a stop, got an offsides, first down Syracuse. So, yeah, but he had a phenomenal season. Would have been the leader in passing yards in the FBS, but Kyle McCord did that one. Nobody saw that coming. I got 3 games wrong, excuse me. I got y'all losing to Louisville wrong. I got y'all beating Georgia Tech wrong and beating Syracuse wrong. Those were my 3 games I got wrong. I went 9-3 while Miami went 10-2. I had them going 11-1, 7-1. They went 10-2, 6-2. They lost the Pop-Tart Bowl to Iowa State 42-41. Again, not Cam Ward's fault, and nor do I fault him sending out the second half of that game.
No.
Morally, I don't fault him. As a gambler, however, I did bet on Miami, and you sitting out the second half cost me that game, but NC State ended up costing my parlay anyway. But all jokes. But yeah, I don't fault him for sitting out. This defense wasn't even getting stops in that game. That game was like legitimately you score, I score. That was that Pop-Tart Bowl. So yeah, but amazing season. But I'm gonna let y'all talk about this season more. And again, y'all team, I'm gonna let y'all pick who go first.
You can go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I had 3 games wrong in this season as well. The game that I thought we would lose, we actually won against USF because I was very questionable about that game. I felt like they might catch us off guard, but we actually we won that game. And I was wrong about Georgia Tech and wrong about Syracuse. I thought we would go undefeated in ACC play, and that did not happen. We lost 2 games in ACC play, and the defense was horrendous. Oh my gosh. That we had the 105th ranked defense in the country. The defense sucked. We couldn't get a stop for nothing, and Ruben Bain was hurt for a part of a season. I didn't even realize he was hurt. I just randomly didn't see him playing in the game. I was like, well, where's Ruben Bain at? And come to find out he hurt. And we just couldn't get stopped. We couldn't get any pressure on the quarterback. I mean, our run defense was okay, but it wasn't one of the best in the nation. So, and then our corners just kept getting burnt. Like none of them could stop anything. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. Whoever the quarterback was, if they wanted to find somebody, they could find somebody open somewhere down the field because our corners could not stop anyone. But I also had us going 11-1. But they went, like you said, they went 10-2, lost in the bowl game, of course. But I mean, most of the games I had right, you know. News gonna be Florida State, news gonna be Louisville. You know, I thought that we would come in with a different attitude and beat Georgia Tech because of what happened in the season before.
I did too.
And that just did not happen, and I'm really upset that happened and we don't play them next year, so we can't even get them back. So I'm a little upset at that. But Miami, I like what we've done so far this year to fix all of that. Brand new defensive coordinator. We just got a safety from Auburn, so I like the direction we're going in as far as defense. Let's just see what Carson Beck is going to do. So that's the biggest thing. What is he going to do? We got JoJo Trader still there. We still got some other good receivers. We had another good receiver came from, I think it was Kalan.
Keelan from BYU.
So
was it Keelan Marion?
Yeah, Keelan Marion from BYU. So we got him that came out of there. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. But that's what I had. I had us going 11-1 and winning the ACC, but that clearly didn't happen.
Yep. Back to having a question mark at quarterback. Go ahead, Ace.
All right. Well, let me say this. This season was by far one of the most entertaining seasons I've ever watched the Miami Hurricanes.
Facts.
It was. We don't really have a reason to hold our heads down about it. Like, yes, we should have went to the ACC championship. Yes, we shouldn't have had those 2 losses. Yes, Cam Ward should have won Heisman. Yes.
Hold on.
Say it again.
No.
Say it again.
You don't believe that.
Ace.
We don't lose them 2 games. If we don't lose them, he's not more in the Heisman conversation.
He's in the Heisman conversation. I don't think he wins it.
Look. Okay, it's a generational 2-way player out there, sure.
I don't think he should have won it either.
Should have asked Jinty.
I thought it should have been Jinty.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Point is,
should have made the college football playoffs.
Should have made the college football playoffs. Should have won our first ACC championship.
Yeah,
there's a lot of.
I don't think I beat Clemson. Only because they play defense and y'all don't.
I do.
Stop it. Lance Guidry, I have words for you that I can't say on this show. But just know, if I ever see you
gone, I'm glad you're gone. That's the thing.
I'm glad you're gone, and I wish you could be gone even more. Oh. I wish I never heard your name. I wish you just stayed at Marshall. But
he wish you stayed at Marshall. They won the championship.
Go. You know what you could do? Go to Florida State. Go to Florida State.
Nah, he can go back to Marshall. I don't know if they filled that job.
Go to Florida State. Go be their defensive coordinator. Go there.
Go to high school, bro. Go to high school. Dang, I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to kick it with you. I don't want to think about you. I don't want to do none of that. You ruined
my boy putting
offense
that we have ever right now. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress.
Everything about him.
I caught the movie reference, by the way.
Thank you. Bruh, our corners were abysmal. Our secondary was so trash. Like he said, they couldn't stop a nosebleed. You could literally do anything that you wanted to them. It was embarrassing to see. We had to put up 50 points a game. We literally had to. It was no other option. The situations that they put us in, a 1-point victory versus Cal, a game that shouldn't even have been all of that. Yes, we were going to clear across the country, but come on, man. Come
Then they had 4 50+ touchdowns.
Yes.
touchdowns.
Yes.
450 plus yard touchdowns.
Then
bro.
the next week, a shootout with Louisville that goes down to the wire. We literally the one time that the defense showed up at the end of that game. Then we have a fight in the first half with Duke. Then we can't stop a nosebleed with on the ground with Georgia Tech. And then Syracuse comes out. Syracuse comes out and has Cal McCourt looking like Dan Marino. He literally dimed us up every single place that we could. And then turnovers, like not performing in big time plays. It's like we literally gave up our destiny. Like we had everything in front of us and we gave it up. We dropped it. It's horrible, and it makes me feel like, dang man, what are we gonna do next year? It's like we literally had the best offense that we could ever have. Like it's nowhere but down from there. However,
the way I filled that quarterback position, I believe you.
But look, nobody. You can't tell me there were a few people in college football this year that you could have the confidence that you had with Cam Ward that he would go out there and make a play. You know what I mean? It was dang near without a doubt. You know what I mean? And it's like that can't be replicated. You can't replicate the experience that we lost at the receiver position. You can't replicate the experience that we lost at the running back position, nor the quarterback position. I mean, but yes, we have made strides in the transfer portal. We did bolster that secondary a lot, and I think that it's going to be a lot better. I think that the new
it better be.
I mean, yeah, it's no way but up for that.
It better be.
Yeah, exactly.
It better be.
Clearly.
I like our defensive coordinator. He got attitude.
Corey Heatherman. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. He came from Minnesota, which is another tough team, and he's going to bring some attitude to this defense, which is much needed. They need to be mean. They need to be nasty. They was too soft, and I hated to see it. Yes, we were that team.
It wasn't University of Miami attitude. That's what it was.
Not at all. Not at all. They allowed people to go out there and punch them in the mouth, and sometimes they didn't punch back. It was embarrassing to see, and it was a shame that it had to be on. It's a shame that it had to be that year that the defense performed like that, because we generally do have pretty decent defenses. You know what I mean?
The year before we had a pretty decent defense.
Bro, the year before we thought we was good. We was like, we got Cam Ward now, and with that defense, we should be straight. We shouldn't have to worry about it. And the defense does that. Oh my gosh. Man, all I'm saying is, I thought we would go undefeated. We didn't. We lost 2 games. But you know what? We're going undefeated next year, nigga. Oh.
Jesus Ace, my God, Booker T.
You're just kid. You're just kid. You know what?
My bad.
You know what, Carl? He just like Mark. He just can't control himself. Remember Mark from the NFL draft? He just kept going on.
Hulk Hogan, we coming for you. God dang, bro.
It's been a couple months, man. I'm sorry.
It's all good, bro. You just gonna have to take it up with Joe. But
this is a family program. So.
I mean, to your defense, it's like 10:45, but we still gotta keep it rated PG. Yeah, man, I'm glad y'all got it out. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie, I was rooting for y'all. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't have no hate towards Miami. I actually like Miami on top. I do hate when people say, oh, when this program is good, such and such is better for the league. I do, however, feel like when Miami is good, it is better for college football. And I hate using that phrase, but I do like college football better when Miami is good. And y'all were really good offensively. It's just defensively held y'all back so much. And if the defense didn't hold y'all back in that Syracuse game, y'all would have made the ACC championship game. Now, again, because of the defense y'all had, I don't think y'all beat Clemson because they actually played defense. But I will say this. The only thing that may make me change my mind is that when SMU figured Clemson defense out, Clemson couldn't get a stop. Mm-hmm. Clemson didn't get if you go back and watch that game, once SMU figured them out and stopped turning the ball over, because that also hurt SMU a ton. They would turn the ball over like crazy, Kevin Jennings. But once they stopped doing that, they almost came back and won that game. So that would be the only thing that made me change my mind.
I think y'all they figured them out though. Like
I was rooting for SMU too. I was like, please come back and win. Come back and win. Come back.
I know Ace was. I picked Clemson to win, so I was rooting for him. But
we should have been in the playoff, man.
Yeah, I was about to say if y'all played that game,
the best offense in the bro. Imagine that offense in the playoff, bro. The sky's the limit. Like
Imagine.
I'll tell you one thing though.
anything.
I would have been pissed if Alabama got in and we didn't. I would have been pissed off if that happened because there's no way you go and lose to Vanderbilt and then you deserve to go. No way.
Well,
no way.
I would have won. If y'all would have won the ACC, y'all would have been an auto bid.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, without it being an auto bid, they were saying that Alabama deserved to be in it over us. No, they don't. No, sorry.
Oh yeah.
Nah.
Wait, hold on. Let me think. If you saying if y'all make the ACC championship game, or you just saying the way it shook out, if Bama would have get out of y'all?
The way it shook out, Bama. They said Bama would.
Yeah, I would have been with you. That would have just been strictly a SEC play. I'd have been with you. That's just other than the SEC, they deserve a shot more, which is stupid. But yeah, I would say this. Y'all and the college football players might have been scary because if you look, Texas, Arizona State almost came back and won that game. Mm-hmm. And Arizona State was down their best receiver in Jordan Tyson. They literally were Cam Scatterbo and Sam Levitt running the football or bust. Some guys made some plays, but they weren't consistent. Like if Jordan Tyson would have been there. Y'all, on the other hand, y'all have everything in the world, every offense. It's just y'all wouldn't have got them stops Arizona State got. That's the only thing that would have hurt y'all. But
yeah, I mean, we had Isaiah Horton, Restrepo, Damian Martinez. Yeah. We had the offensive firepower for sure.
It's only a few teams that really would have been able to stop us.
Yeah. It's just the defense would have caused
Texas would have had a field day. Quinn Ewers probably would have got drafted higher off of y'all game. I'm not gonna lie.
Facts.
Yeah, but we could have outscored them though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Our line is really good, man.
Y'all defense just really scares the crap out of me to say like in what if situations. That's what it is for real.
It scares us. It scares us.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, look, if it's a shootout, I'm taking us. If it's that same team anytime and you like it's going to be a shootout type of game, it's like, yeah, I'm taking us every time.
Yeah, if they can't stop us, I'm taking them.
I feel you, but this is SEC comp. This is, I don't want to say Big 12 comp.
I mean, we used to be in the SEC, so we know how it is.
Y'all were never in the SEC.
Yeah, I don't think
y'all in the Big East.
Big East.
Oh yeah, Big East. That's right.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know, bro. Y'all defense is so scary. When y'all make Cal look very competent, it's just scary, bro.
It's hard to deny. You know what I mean? It's hard to be like, oh yeah, we would have whooped on that.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's so scary.
But listen.
But I do feel like y'all defense did cost y'all some destiny. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like it would. I know Ace, once the season ended, was like it's a wasted season, and I kind of like tried to talk him off the ledge, but I could understand where he was coming from in that.
Don't bring me back to
that. It was wasted, man.
That day.
My bad.
That was dark time.
Hey, that's the point of the review, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Don't blame me. Blame the review.
I don't know if you saw me at the beginning of this. I was like, we did mess it up.
All right, we're gonna move on to North Carolina before I bring some demons across Ace Way. We'll just move on to North Carolina. North Carolina the year prior was 8-4 with my boy Draco. 4-4 in conference play. Draco did leave, but North Carolina bruised and battered at quarterback. First game they lose Max Johnson out for the season. I think it was like if I remember correctly, it was like a nasty hit against Minnesota. Then they lose their backup Connor Harrell. He gets hurt, and it's down to Jacoby Crissett. And I think he had a decent year. He had some flashes. He showed some flashes for sure, like the Pitt game. I want to say that was one of his better games against Pitt. The craziest loss on North Carolina's schedule, they lost 70-50 to JMU.
Oh,
that was a crazy loss. They always play like the Sun Belt in some crazy game. If y'all remember, like 2 years ago, they won the double OT with App State. I think they won like 63 to like 62 or something like that. It was something crazy like that. They did beat Minnesota. I had them losing to Minnesota. They won 19-17. They beat Charlotte, beat North Carolina Central, lost to JMU. I had them winning that game. They lost to Duke. I had them winning that game. They lost to Pitt. I had them winning that game. They lost 34-24. I had them losing to Georgia Tech. They lost. I had them beating Virginia. They won. I had them losing to Florida State. They won 35-11. Again, crazy. I had them beating Wake Forest. They won. I had them losing to Boston College. They lost. I had them losing to North Carolina State. They lost. They ended up going 6-6, 3-5. So a middle of the pack season. They lost the Fenway Bowl to UConn 27-14. They absolutely got dominated in that game. The score doesn't show it, but that game, it was North Carolina didn't have a chance from the jump. UConn jumped on them early and it was over. I had 7 games right, 5 games wrong in this. So my prediction actually matched what I thought they would go. But overall, I think I don't want to say they had a good year, but I will say this: they had a good year dealing with the third string quarterback. To lose your first 2 quarterbacks early in the year and to rely on the third string quarterback throughout the year to make a bowl game, go 6-6, and salvage the season, I will say that's a pretty good year for North Carolina, who again, like Duke, don't get the top tier talent. They don't get the big recruits. They're a basketball school, even though basketball didn't go that great this year either. But in football, you don't really expect much. But now they do have Bill Belichick, so we will see how that goes. I think Dave started off last time. Ace, talk to me about North Carolina.
Yeah, so North Carolina definitely didn't have the greatest season in the world. I think the standard at North Carolina is a bit higher than what they reflected on the field this year. But I mean, like you said, when your first 2 quarterbacks go down dealing with Jacoby Criswell, I mean, it's not
Criswell,
really.
I think I said Chrisette. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really much that you could do with that. I mean, he did perform at certain times. He got them some wins. Florida State win, Wake Forest, and Virginia. But I mean, yeah, definitely nothing to write home about. That James Madison game. I literally remember watching that where I'm sitting right now and just on FanDuel, just keep betting the James Madison team total, keep betting the first half over.
Didn't JMU catch endless pick sixes in that game?
Yeah, 3. It's like 3 pick sixes. They put up like 40 something points in the first half, or almost 50. Like it was ridiculous. I've never seen such a thorough whooping. Like it was really bad. Like I thought our defense was bad, but that was the worst performance I've seen by our defense that year.
Facts. That was.
Offensively too. Shoot, 3 pick sixes.
Yeah. It was just a comprehensive meltdown. But to my prediction for them, I predicted them going 7-5, 4-4 in conference play. They ended up going 6-6, 3-5 in conference play, which I mean, I don't think I was that far off. I want to say that the game that I got wrong that they did lose was James Madison, but other than that, it was kind of an okay season. Like you said, they got the coach fired, and Bill Belichick's there now, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens if his girlfriend doesn't ruin it.
Sure,
I'm hearing that she's starting to yeah. I mean, she's 24. She's super young. I don't know. Now, don't get me started. Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and leave that alone. Go ahead, Dave.
I was. Carl, you was about to have me rambling too. I was about to go off as well because you know what's happened to Shannon Sharp. So
yeah, and I'm gonna just leave that alone.
And actually, it was only 1 pick 6. It was only 1 pick 6.
For real?
Yeah, it was a 33
Why
yard.
do I feel like it was more? Terrence
Spence had a 33-yard interception return, but that was it.
Was it like a fumble return or something too?
There was a punt. There was a punt return that went.
Okay.
Everything else was pretty much offense.
Okay, so I thought it was.
No, they probably had some. They probably had some interceptions that were close to pick sixes though.
Okay, I'm about to say, I remember it was more than just offensive touchdowns in that game.
Yeah.
No, you know what it was? That pick 6 was like right before the half because it was like, all right, this is going bad. Then the pick 6 happened. It was oh, God, this is crazy.
Yeah, it was. It was 56 seconds left in the second quarter.
Who threw it? Was it Connor Harrell or was it Jacoby Criswell?
I want to
say it was Criswell, but I'm not sure.
Criswell.
Yeah, Criswell had 2 picks that game. Yeah, I think it was Criswell.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for me, I had that I had UNC going 7-5 last year, but they went 6-6.
We all had them going 7-5. That's crazy.
Yeah. I got the Minnesota game wrong. I got the JMU, of course, got that wrong. Got that one wrong. I got the Pitt game wrong. I had them beating Pitt. They lost. And I got the FSU and Boston College game wrong because they beat FSU but lost to Boston College.
Okay. So, all right. Another thing I want to talk about because I meant to talk about it, forgot. One of the bright spots of the season, Omarion Hampton.
Oh yes.
My God. I
Yeah.
mean, just to continue what he did the year prior was amazing. He probably would have been considered the best back of Ashton Genty. Just didn't exist, but he obviously did. But yeah, he was like quite. I don't want to say he was clearly the best back, because when you got a guy like Caleb Johnson who's at Iowa and Iowa's putting up 40+ points because of Caleb Johnson.
And Carl, remember what I said after they had a couple of games? I said, Carl, I think this Iowa game, I think their offense is a lot better. And I mean,
yeah, you did say that. You did, and they proceeded to continuously put up 40 points. So I would give you that. You did say that. Because I was giving the caveats, like, I think they play like some weak school or something like that. Oh no, they play like an FCS school or something like that. I'm like, man, that's just them. Whatever. But yeah, Caleb Johnson was allowing them to put up 40 straight points. It's tough to see what they're gonna do now because Caleb Johnson's gone. And I think what's his name? LaShawn Moulton, I think he's gone too, or maybe he's back. I'm not sure. But Amari Hampton was top 5 back easily this past season in the country. I'm interested to see what they do at quarterback, because didn't they get Gio Lopez? I want to say they got Gio Lopez from South Alabama. Mm-hmm. I think Max Johnson transferred out, so I think it is Gio Lopez's job. Gio Lopez is a speedy lefty. Accuracy is it?
Remember they was recruiting him over Nico, because remember that whole Nico situation going on.
I'm not even gonna lie.
And they was like, nah, we want him.
Not gonna lie. With the price of that Nico is asking for, I'm not mad at them.
I'm not either.
I don't think anybody up here disagrees that Nico is highly overrated.
High.
Okay.
He's done nothing.
He was carried by Dylan Sampson at Tennessee. Anybody that says Nico led them to the playoffs is a lie.
For sure.
But Nico played bad in every big game they had, if you want to be real. Mm-hmm. The only good game he had at the big game at the time was NC State, and that proven to not be a big game as the season progressed. But yeah, I do think North Carolina is. I don't know if they're trending in the right direction. I'm interested to see what Bill Belichick does, though, because he's getting some guys, as you would expect Bill Belichick recruiting to go. But I'm interested to see what Gio Lopez does in the UNC uniform, because, like I said, very speedy lefty, but accuracy could be an issue. And he does not have Jamal Pritchard. Jamal Pritchard was a dog at South Alabama. If you know, you know. So I think J.J. Jones and Nate McCollum are both gone next year. I'm not 100% sure on that. I wouldn't know about preview season. But, yeah, anything else in North Carolina before we move to NC State?
No, I mean, disappointing season overall, pretty much. But
I wouldn't say that. I mean, if you go 7, if you had to go 7-5,
you had a bowl game, so it's not bad.
I mean, they were down to their third string quarterback, and Mac Brown is like 86, 80. It was about his time to go anyway.
Yeah, and they got
they got somebody else old to replace them.
Yeah, but Belichick that was
young and hard apparently.
Yeah, but I mean, and North Carolina do be hiring old people. So. But
Ace. You are wild, man.
I missed it. I missed it. I might have missed it.
He said young at heart.
Oh, chill out. You're a wilding.
He is.
You are wilding. You're not wrong, but you're wilding.
Hey, man.
Wilding.
We're gonna move on to NC State. We're gonna move on to NC State and the Wolfpack. This was like one of my more disappointing seasons. I had higher hopes for NC State than what they put on the field. Mainly due to they getting Grayson McCall, but in Grayson McCall fashion, he did get hurt. He is now medically retired from football. Kind of saw that coming. He was getting hurt at Coastal. I remember he barely played in his bowl game because he didn't want to get hurt. Then he went to NC State. And yeah, NC State was Kevin Concepcion on bus. Just being real. Jordan Waters, in my opinion, didn't have the greatest season at running back. I want to say CJ Bailey. No, CJ Bailey left. Who was the backup? Was it MJ Morris? I want to say it was MJ Morris. MJ Morris is a runner, decent thrower. I think now he's at Maryland. I think quarterback play, though, with Grayson McCall being hurt, he wasn't playing the greatest either, by the way. Just throwing that out there. The quarterback play just led to a disappointing season in NC State. I want to say they had a pretty decent defense. I had NC State going 9-3, 6-2, which was the record they went previous of the preview. They actually finished 6-6, 3-5. I had them beating Western Carolina, which they won. I had them losing to Tennessee, which they lost. I had them beating Louisiana Tech, which they won. I had them losing to Clemson, which they lost. Beating Northern Illinois, which they won. Which, I mean, I guess you couldn't sneeze at that one after they beat Notre Dame. Beating Wake Forest, which they lost to Wake Forest, which is crazy, 34-30. I had them beating Syracuse, which they lost 24-17. I had them beating Cal, which they won. Beating Stanford. Beating Duke, they lost 29-19. Losing to Georgia Tech, they lost. I had them beating UNC. So I had 9 games right, 3 games wrong. They lost the Military Bowl to ECU. I don't know if I just said that or not. 26-21. They blew that game, by the way. Defense blew that game. I think ECU had the ball, and they needed to go like 80, 90-some yards. And they gave up a Rajay Harris 80, 90-yard touchdown. Or something long rushing touchdown to ECU to go up after catching like a pick or something. They turned the ball right back over. Rajay Harris scores. NC State throws a pick late game to lose. That was also on a parlay. But again, Cam Ward didn't finish the game, so I wasn't that mad after all. But they blew that Military Bowl game to ECU. Dave, talk to me about NC State.
Man, all I got for NC State is I had them going 8-4, and that did not happen. I was high on NC State. I thought they would, I thought they would be a lot better than they were, and they went 6-6 and then lost in the bowl game. So I'm interested to see exactly what they're gonna do this year with NC State, because they got a few transfers that came from the SEC to NC State that I liked. That wasn't too bad. So I think they'll have a better season this year. So I can't wait till we have the preview and we talk about this again.
Ace.
So I had NC State going 10-2 actually, and 7-1 in conference play. I was very high on NC State before this season started. I thought Grayson McCall would come out there and he would, do a lot of what he did at Coastal Carolina, and he got benched.
That was your boy, Carl.
He got hurt. Yeah, that was my dog.
He got hurt. Okay. I thought Kevin Concepcion would have a great year, and he did not. Not that takes away from his talent or anything, but it just seemed like NC State was just off this year. I'm not too sure what it was. Jordan Waters wasn't producing like how we thought. Nope. It just seemed like nothing really went their way. And but one thing that they did find is CJ Bailey. CJ Bailey.
CJ Bailey? Okay, cool.
CJ Bailey is a baller. I'm very impressed with the young man. Like he made some young mistakes, but he also did some big things and got them some big wins when they probably shouldn't have got them. It definitely wasn't the greatest season for them, and I have no clue what the future may hold.
None.
Kind of weird. They're in a weird spot right now.
Yeah. So correct. I want to correct myself. So I was right the first time. It was CJ Bailey who took over when Grayson McCall got hurt and then medically retired in the season. MJ Morris was at Maryland and he transferred from Maryland. That's what it was. Because I think MJ Morris, who was the other quarterback? Billy Edwards? Yeah. Him and Billy Edwards, because Billy Edwards got benched because he was playing bad, I think. MJ Morris didn't transfer from Maryland. But yeah, CJ Bailey, he showed flashes for sure. He's more of a runner though, in my opinion. I think he has to work on throwing the ball from the pocket. I don't know if you agree or disagree with me with that, but I think there is talent there. I think it is talent there with CJ Bailey. If they can, get him better in the pocket, maybe.
Raw, right?
I think you said what?
I think he's just raw right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I think he's just a raw talent. If they can get him hone in on his skill, and I think sometimes he might run too early. If you get what I'm saying, if he just stays with it, some might come open, but he might have a clock go off in his head or something like that. Or feel like he might have to make a play with his legs. But yeah, like you said, I think he's a raw talent, and if they can hone in, I think he could be pretty good. That is one of the bright spots. But Kevin Concepcion is no longer at NC State. He's at Texas A&M. So shout out to him. I don't know who's gonna be throwing the ball at Texas A&M. I gotta look and see who their quarterback is now, because I want to say Connor Wegman is no longer there. And I'm not really a fan of Marcel Reed. Don't even know if he's still there or not. I think Marcel Reed is just more so of a runner, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't know what the future holds for NC State. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's kind of weird, but I do say they will get recruits. So if they have a good season next year, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they were ever out of the conversation of teams that could compete in the ACC.
Connor Wegman.
Just a down.
He's still there?
Yeah.
He got benched last year. He's still there?
Yep.
They ended up benching him for no, he plays for Houston now.
Does he?
Connor Wigman plays for Houston now. I was about to say he got benched last year. I didn't expect him to still be there. It might still be Marcel Reed.
Yeah, it's Marcel Reed. It's Marcel Reed.
Good luck. Yeah, anything else for NC State before we move to Pitt?
Nah.
All right, we'll move on to Pitt. Now, Pitt, interesting season. Started off so amazing. Came out the gates hot. Nobody expected them to be as hot as they were. I think they ended up being ranked at one point.
Yeah.
Eli Holstein, the transfer from Alabama, came in, and he was just balling, making plays with his legs, making plays with his arms. With his arms, excuse me. Kanata Munfield was his go-to guy, and Desmond Reed out of nowhere from Holy Cross. Oh my God, what a season by him. Desmond Reed had a spectacular season both on the ground and through the air. He is an underrated back. I feel like that nobody really talked about due to guys like Devin Neal and Caleb Johnson, Omarion Hampton, Ashton Genty. But if you wanted to look for one of the best backs in next year's college football around the country, Desmond Reed might be at the top of that list. A spectacular guy. I had Pitt going 5-7, 2-6. They actually finished 7-5, 3-5. They lost the Sports Bowl to Toledo, but they were running like that fourth-string quarterback in that game. They lost in like 6 overtimes. Oh, this game just brought up so many bad memories. I have to talk about this real quick because I picked Pitt to win. Pitt scored a touchdown, right? They scored a touchdown, I want to say in like the second overtime. No. I'm lying. I want to say Pitt is at the 1-yard line on 4th and goal in the second overtime. And I want to say, I can't remember. It's some dumb decision where Pitt decided to go for kicking the ball and instead of going for the win when they were at like the 1 or the 2-yard line. And then the next overtime, they're at the 3 going for the 2-point conversion play instead of just ending it there. Oh my God, I have to Google this now. It pissed me off. It made no sense. I went on a Twitter rant about this. That's how much it pissed me off. Man, I gotta Google this because oh my, I was hot, bro. When I tell you I was in the crib hot, it made no sense. It legit made no sense. It took me by surprise. Play by play. Let's go to Jesus. I can't skip to a quarter when they start doing that.
I think Pitt actually down 2 gambling last year. I want to say it's the West Virginia game.
Oh my God, bro. Was it this right here when they was down at the 1 and they did kick the field goal and then yeah, it was this right here. Down at the 1. It's 40, it's 37-40, excuse me. You're at the 1. You start from the 1, it's 3rd and goal, you don't get it. 4th and goal. They kick a field goal. And then they get the ball to start the next overtime. Which is at the 3, and that's like the 2-point conversion plays. Why would you not just go for the win? You're down to your 4th-string quarterback. It's a bowl game where, I mean, you had opt-out stuff like that. You had dealt with injuries. You really didn't have a consistent answer at quarterback. You benched one for another one. You have Desmond Reed. I want to say he played in this game. I want to say he actually went crazy in this game. And you couldn't stop Toledo from scoring. In the second, they could not stop Junior Vanderross. They could not. Junior Vanderross had an amazing game against Pitt. Yeah, Desmond Reed had 33 carries for 169 yards and a touchdown and 5 catches for 15 yards through the air. Junior Vanderross had 12 catches for 194 yards and a touchdown. They could not stop that man. And you go for a field goal at the 1-yard line. We ain't coming to the 1 in overtime for no field goal. We going to end it here. Either we win or we lose on this play. And they lost because they were scary. But they started off hot. They beat Kent State, which I thought they would win. They lost this. I mean, I had them losing to Cincy, which they won, but they almost blew that game. I remember that game. They almost blew it. I had them beating West Virginia, which they won. I had them beating Youngstown State, which they won. I had them losing to UNC, which they won. I had them losing to Cal, which they won, 17-15. Had them beating Syracuse, and then I had them losing to SMU, beating Virginia, which they lost 24-19. Lost to Clemson, lost to Louisville. So they won their first 7 games and lost their last 5. So a roller coaster of a season. Was that the Clemson game? I think the Clemson game Clemson. Oh, that's the game where Cade Klubnik ran it in from the touchdown from like 50 yards out.
Yeah,
Pitt should have won that game. Yeah, Pitt should have beat Clemson, but Clemson gamed them at the end. I want to say this was a successful season though for Pitt. Coming off the year they had the previous year, I think they went like 3-9. Yeah, they went 3-9 the year before. To make a bowl game, 7-5. They found something kind of with Eli. I want to say they found something with Eli Holstein. I'll give them that. They found something with Eli Holstein and Desmond Reed for sure. So I think this was a successful season. And I'm interested to see how they build on that, especially with Desmond Reed. Ace, let's go to you.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. It was definitely a success of a season because the expectations were pretty low for Pitt. It's like the year before they kind of, went down, and then it just seemed like they were going to be on a downward swing, but they figured it out. Pat Narduzzi is the coach.
Pat Narduzzi.
Yeah, Pat Narduzzi, like he's another consistent coach in the ACC who, whose teams, like, they may not be competing every single year. Out of like 2 or 3 years, two of those years, they're going to be a problem for a couple of teams, And I think he did the same thing. Granted, they didn't end the year how they wanted to, I'm sure. But a close game with Clemson, like you said. SMU, there's no reason to hold your head there. I mean, SMU was just on fire this year.
Mm-hmm.
Losing to Louisville, we already said how much we praised Louisville. I mean, and then Virginia and Boston College, those losses, I mean, that's just a flip of the coin, So
my boy Calandrew. I don't even think Calandrew played in that game though, but that was my dog.
I'm not sure. But yeah, I think they're in a pretty good spot, man. I think there's nothing wrong with the season that they had. Nobody was expecting them to win the ACC championship. They were ranked later on in the season, so it's like, you can't be mad at that, man.
Yeah, the season just bottomed out from them. Starting off 7-0, it's a great start. It just bottomed out.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so I mean, they definitely had a good year compared to how I had them. I had them going 3-9 just like they did the year before. So I definitely wasn't expecting them to play that well. But I did get a few of their losses right. The loss against Clemson, I had that right. I did have one wrong though. I had them beating Boston College and they lost that game. I had them losing to Louisville, and I had them losing to SMU. Had them losing to Syracuse. So I was really shocked at how well they played early in the season, and to have I remember we talked about this in college football chat. We was like, bro, they are like Pittsburgh 7-0. Like none of us could have predicted this. And then to lose 5 straight games right after that, it was like, well, what was the point of going 7-0 if you only lose 5 straight?
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, you look at the 5 they lost to, like Ace said, you can't hold your head. You lost to SMU. No need to hold your head there. Lose to Clemson. Probably should have, not even probably, you should have won that game, but you lost. Virginia, okay, maybe that's one like, all right, we shouldn't have lost that one. Boston, I had them losing to Boston College, so that one I wouldn't say is a bad loss either. But I mean, 3 of the 5 losses you had were, if you go into the season, those are projected losses.
Yeah, it was. I'm just saying, to have that momentum going into it, and then to have that momentum taken away, right going towards the end, like when it matters the most, and it led into the bowl game because they lost the bowl game too. So.
Well, really, when you look at it, it's like when did the competition turn up? I mean, they had 2 tough games within 3 weeks. Really 3 tough games within 4 weeks with
that's what I'm saying.
Clemson. It's just like it's kind of like the one thing I realized about college football, man. Once it hit November, that's really where people separate themselves. It's like if you can't win in November, you're most likely not going to be able to capitalize on whatever you built in during the season. Like even if you did play like maybe mediocre competition up until that point, if it ain't coming together, it ain't gonna come together.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a successful season nonetheless, because I don't think any of us had them playing that well.
Nah, I don't think none of us had them making a bowl game.
Nah.
Yeah, I didn't.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I had them winning them.
I had him going 3-9.
Yeah, I had the most wins for him at 5. So gotta be a
There
successful
you go.
season. Definitely something to build off of. And I would say defensively, I ain't gonna lie, I fell for it. I thought they were a good defense. Nah, they was just a how do I want to say, opportunistic defense.
Yeah.
They were opportunistic defense. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll move on if nothing else. Also, Desmond Reed came from Holy Cross. He came from Western Carolina. My bad. They wear purple too, but it was Western Carolina. We move on to SMU. SMU. Rhett Lashley. I had SMU going 11-1, 7-1. They went 11-1, 8-0, making the ACC championship game and losing to Clemson. They did make the first round of the college football playoffs. They lost to Penn State 38-10. Penn State absolutely dominated them defensively. I think I even called a pick six in that game. So like prior to it, I knew Kevin Jennings was going to throw a pick six. But if you're SMU, can't hold your head, man. Had a great season, a phenomenal season. Rhett Lashley is doing nothing but wonderful things. Now you did start off the season with a scare. Probably should have lost that Nevada game. I'm not even gonna lie. They probably should have lost that game. RJ Maryland made a huge play towards the end of that game to help win that one. But Nevada, they made me a fan of that game, and the season for them just bottomed out. But I got a Nevada shirt because of that game. Nevada played with a lot of heart. Jeff Choate, I like him as a coach. But I had them winning every game except for Louisville. That was how I predicted it. So I got 10 games right, 2 games wrong. They lost to BYU, which that game put BYU on the map. And they lost to Louisville. No, excuse me. I had them losing to Louisville, and they beat Louisville. Like I said, went undefeated in ACC play. So they came into the season. We didn't know who was going to be the starter. Was it going to be Preston Stone? Was it going to be Kevin Jennings? Honestly, Preston Stone looked terrible. I mean, horrible at quarterback this year. And so they went with the 2 quarterback system. It didn't work, honestly, for either one. Preston Stone did come back and win them that game against Nevada, and they went back to Preston Stone. Didn't look good. And then BYU, after the BYU game, they just ended up saying, you know what, it's Kevin Jennings' job, and they never looked back from there. And to be honest, they needed to pick a starter from the jump. If they'd have picked a starter from the jump, I don't think either one of these quarterbacks looked as bad as they did to start. None of them could get a rhythm. But once they went with Kevin Jennings, he got his rhythm, and it was over. And a lot of that, a huge part of that was Brashard Smith. The elevation of Brashard Smith at running back was huge for SMU. Transfer from Miami, who's a receiver at Miami, they moved him to running back. He had an amazing year at running back. Defensively, I don't want to say opportunistic as well. Defensively, I don't want to say they weren't a good defense, but they weren't bad either. They're just opportunistic at times. But great season. The one thing I will say about Rhett Lashley, though, if you punch a Rhett Lashley team in the mouth, might be wraps. Could be wraps from them early. But yeah, I'm gonna let Ace talk about SMU first.
Yeah, I was pretty high on SMU coming into this year, especially, with Rhett Lashley and all the former players from Miami. I do agree with what you said. If you punch the Rhett Lashley team in their mouth, it might be over. That is unfortunately kind of true. I've seen it at Miami. I've seen SMU do it with the Penn State game. Also, a part of that BYU and a part of that Clemson game as well. So that is unfortunate, but that's something that can be fixed, Overall, like you said, Kevin Jennings coming in, he had a phenomenal season, especially for a kid that didn't have much experience at quarterback at that level. He balled out, man. Brashard Smith did what he had to do. Brashard Smith was like pretty prolific. Like he had a slew of 100-yard games. I think one at least over 150, like 160 or something like that. Like he balled out. He did his thing. Their defense did show up at certain times against certain opponents. I remember that Duke game. The Duke game was a tough game, that overtime win. So that was a gritty win. That kind of like helped with their public perception that, oh yeah, this team isn't going to quit. Like, they're actually going to be in it all 4 quarters and everything. Unfortunately, that Penn State game went the way it did, but I think that's just just talent, a different
Yeah.
environment never been in. But all in all, the season was a great success, and I think it's something they can build. They can build on. You go to Penn State and you play at Happy Valley, and you experience that for the first time. It's a gut check, but it also makes you realize that we do have more work to do, and there are higher levels to get to. I think it's only.
Facts. And then, not just before you go, Dave. I mean, Lorette Ashley, his last 2 years been in conference championships. Won the American League, lost the ACC.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely a really great season. I had them going 10-2, losing to FSU in Louisville. So, I mean, SMU definitely for their first season to be in the ACC to get to the ACC championship game is a phenomenal thing. They should be really happy about that. And that's something to build on. With Bashar Smith returning this year, he's going to be right there running back. I think that's going to help them more.
He's left. Yeah, he's in the NFL. Yeah, he's in the NFL.
Oh, it's not. I thought he got drafted.
I don't know if he got drafted.
Yeah,
but
I think he went like 7th round or something.
I thought he was still there.
Nah, he's out of there.
No, he was a senior, I believe.
Hey, it's college football. Senior, not
I feel you now, but
they
he ain't gonna do enough.
They find ways. I mean, Tyler Show was in the league for 7. He was there for 7 years. We just had somebody retire after playing 8 seasons in college football.
Oh, the Ace favorite quarterback.
This is true. yeah, finally got him out of there.
So, people making careers playing football in college.
Get a job.
Hey, no, it was time for Cam Rising to go. And Ace, no, I'm a Cam Rising guy. It was time to go. Yeah. But yeah, Bashar Smith's on the Chiefs.
Oh, okay. All right.
Last thing I'm gonna say about SMU is I'm excited for next season for SMU. I'm excited to see where Rat actually rolls out offensively because he's also a guy he got some guys at receiver that's kind of explosive. So I want to see what he brings out at receiver, what type of offense he runs. I know he's trying to run screens for guys at receiver and try to push the ball downfield. I want to see what he does with Kevin Jennings. And I want to see if Kevin Jennings' evolution as a passer as well. So I'm excited.
I'm excited to see us play them this year because we have them on our schedule. So
that's a fun game to watch.
I'm excited to see that. I want to see how we go up against a team that was in the ACC championship game last year. So I'm very interested in that.
I can agree with that.
All right, so we're going to move on to Stanford. I don't have much to say for Stanford, man. Pretty terrible football team, but it's because of who they are. Stanford is a pretty high academic school. They don't really bend or conform to like NCAA rules, so like they recruit late. It's kind of, you're like fighting behind the 8 ball in Stanford. We're like trying to compete for talent. So it's kind of like their fault. They're not as good in football. Ashton Daniels, I tried to have hopes for him. He's just a runner, in my opinion. He's inconsistent at quarterback. He'll have good halves, like the TCU game was a good half. And then he'll have a Clemson game where he'll drive you down the field and just turn the ball over as soon as you get in the red zone. So, I mean, I don't know. I think Ashton Daniels left. I don't know where he's at now. I'll Google that real quick. But Alec Ailmaner was a bright spot for them. I like Alec Ailmaner. He's drafted. I want to say he went to the Titans. I liked him a lot. That's pretty much about it. I liked for Stanford. Yeah, Ashton Daniels went to where college quarterbacks suck. He went to Auburn. Yeah, I had Stanford going 3-9, 1-7. They ended up going 3-9, 2-6. I had them losing to TCU, which they fought hard against TCU that game. To be honest, they actually gave TCU a scare, but they lost. I had them beating Cal Poly. They won. I had them losing to Syracuse, which they won. I don't know how. I think Cal McCord kind of was like the one picks in that game. Not sure, but won 26-24. I had them losing to Clemson. Again, they lost. I had them losing to Virginia Tech. They lost. Losing to Notre Dame. They lost. Losing to SMU. They lost. I had them beating Wake Forest. They lost to Wake Forest and Hank Bachmeier 27-24. I had them losing to NC State. They lost. I had them losing to Louisville. They won again. Still don't understand that. And then I had them losing to Cal. They lost, and I had them beating San Jose State, which they lost 34-31. Shout out Nick Nash. But I predicted 8 games right, 4 games wrong. Who did I start with? Ace last time? Dave? No, Dave talking about Stanford.
Yeah, I only had 2 games wrong in this one. I had the record right. I had them going 3-9 for sure. But I had them. This was the funny thing is I know Ace after me, but this is when me and you looked at Ace a little crazy when he said that he had TCU losing to Stanford.
Oh yeah,
I remember this. I was like,
yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I looked at you so crazy. My boy Josh Hoover would have went out like that, boy.
Yeah, that would have been something. But I don't really have too much to say about Stanford. I know I did have one crazy game that I thought that they would win. And that was against Cal. I thought they would be Cal, but that's
not really crazy. That's something like if you would like, I don't think I would kill you for that.
I think it was another game that I'm thinking about right now.
Pretty on par.
Yeah, I wouldn't have killed you for that prediction.
I think it's another. I think it's somebody else I'm thinking about. I can't.
Like if you'd say something like Clemson or Notre Dame, I'd have definitely looked at you crazy.
No.
But like Cal, that's not a bad prediction.
No. I mean, but yeah, 3-9.
Yeah, I had them at 3-9 as well, but 0-8 in conference play. Obviously, they weren't that. They were 2-6 in conference play. But I don't have much to say about them either. I mean, they stink. I have no clue how they beat Syracuse or Louisville, but it is what it is, I guess. Sometimes a broken clock is the right time.
Yeah, broken clock is right twice a day. I like to say that a lot about a certain baseball team. But yeah. I don't go ahead.
About the recruiting point that you brought up. There was a time where Stanford did get pretty good recruits, though. Like, you know what I mean? So I wonder what has happened with that.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh and David Shaw. Yeah, they built up a program. Thank you, because everything in me wanted to say Jim Caldwell. No, it is Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell coached at Stanford. I want to say he did.
He probably did, but I remember David Shaw and Jim Harbaugh really being the one.
I remember Harbaugh too. Harbaugh had McCaffrey, but I want to say Jim Caldwell was like intricate in Stanford's run as well. I want to say Jim Caldwell had what's his face, Stephon Taylor. Stephon Taylor was my guy.
Harbaugh had Andrew Luck too, didn't he?
I want to say yes.
I think so, and Toby Gerhardt maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, Caldwell did not coach for Stanford. I was wrong. Unless this
who had Bryce Love?
I want to say that was David Shaw.
Yeah,
he didn't coach at Stanford. I was wrong about that. I don't know why I remember Jim Caldwell at Stanford. Maybe I'm just tripping.
Maybe he was in interviews to be the head coach, but he never got it. Maybe.
Possible.
Or he could have been like in that area, but I don't know. I'm Googling. Don't worry about me. I'm gonna find it. Nope, he was not at Stanford. David Shaw. Let's see when David Shaw was at Stanford. Because I remember Jim Harbaugh at Stanford like that, but then Michigan State beat him in the Rose Bowl. But
he couldn't win a bowl game with Stanford.
Who they played with Stephon Taylor? Was it Wisconsin? I think they lost to Wisconsin.
Was that when Wisconsin had what's that running back's name?
Stephon Taylor.
Nah, I'm not thinking about Stephon Taylor. It's another running back that Wisconsin had.
You talking about Wisconsin? They had was it Monty Ball?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
Ball, Melvin Gordon, somebody else.
Monty Ball,
James
Melvin
White.
Gordon,
James White. And then Jonathan Taylor came after them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, David Shaw was head coach right after Jim Harbaugh, 2011 to 2022.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, but yeah, they were good, but I think Jim Harbaugh laid that foundation, and then he left, and David Shaw kept it for a while, but then he lost it, and it was just over. Stephon Taylor was at Stanford from he got drafted 2009 to 2012. I want to say, what was that bowl game? I want to say I was a college freshman in the bowl game I'm talking about. I don't see it. And I'm not about to take all my time looking up Stanford. We're going to move on from Stanford. Stanford got enough time. We'll move on to Syracuse. Syracuse, one of the biggest surprises in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
I had Syracuse going 4-8, 1-7. They went 9-3, 5-3. So one of my biggest surprises, Coming off a 66-2-6 year, which got their head coach fired. Fran Brown comes in. I never heard of Fran Brown, didn't know what to expect, but he had an amazing job. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to be a Fran Brown fan. He accepted that challenge with Dion for the spring ball thing, and I was totally with it. I was wanting to see it because the spring game sucks. Please let that happen. I mean, but I can't remember who was it. Colin Coward who made a valid point. Like, if y'all go to Colorado and have the spring game against each other, what is the NCAA going to do? All right, they said no. Y'all do it in there. What can they do? Are they going to pull scholarships? Like, I feel like that'd be unjust.
Yeah, so, that'd be like an overreaction for sure.
Yeah. So, but nonetheless, Cal McCord had a phenomenal season. Led the league, like I said before, passing yards and FBS. Led the country. Excuse me. I want to say that LaQuint Allen, great season at running back for Syracuse. Receiving core, again, Jackson Meeks and Trevor Pena, spectacular years, came out of nowhere. Arundé Gaston was one of my favorite tight ends in the country. I know Tyler Warren was the best. Harold Fannin, I think, no. Who won the Mackey? Was it Fannin or was it Warren?
I think it was Warren.
Yeah, I think Warren won it, but Harold Fannin was like considered.
He should have won.
Yeah. But right there with them two was Arundé Gaston for me, especially because Sean Brown had such a down year. I was so disappointed in the year Sean Brown had at Jacksonville State. But Arundé Gaston was so good to me. And the defense for Syracuse wasn't of years past, but still had Marlo Wax, who I really liked. Unfortunately, went undrafted, but I want to say he went undrafted. But yeah, great season. I had them beating Ohio, which they won. I had them losing to Georgia Tech, they won. I had them beating Stanford, they lost. I had them beating Holy Cross, they won. I had them losing to UNLV, they won. I had them losing to NC State, they won. I had them losing to Pitt, they lost. I had them losing to Virginia Tech, they won. Had them losing to Boston College, which they lost. Had them losing to Cal, they won. I had them beating UConn, and I had them losing to Yard, which they actually won. So I only got 5 games right here, 7 games wrong. They won the Holiday Bowl versus Washington State, 52-35. Just an all-around great season. I'm so excited to see how Fran Brown replaces Cal McCord. I can't remember if they got a guy in the transfer portal or not. I'll Google it while Ace talks about Syracuse.
Yeah, Syracuse definitely had a great season, especially for a first-year head coach. I mean, he might have turned that program around. Who knows? Especially if they can keep building on what they did last year. I had them predicted at 7-5, 3-5. Obviously, they went 9-3 and 5-3 in the conference. I definitely didn't expect them to beat us, of course, but I like this team a lot. Like you said, Pena, he killed us. McCord diced us up. Allen had 80+ yards on the ground against us. They single-handedly ruined our season, or we ruined our season. Either way you want to put it, they were part of that bad happening, that bad day. So I mean, I'm thoroughly impressed with this team, man. I think that next year it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Dave.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens next year too. I was surprised at how well they played. I had them going 3-9, so I didn't have them having a good season at all. So to have them come out and out of their first 6 games, they went 4. They went 5-1 in their first 6 games. The only game was losing to Stanford, which if you look at, I don't either. Then they lose to Pitt. Beat Virginia Tech, lose to Boston College, beat Cal, beat UConn, of course, beat us. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then in the Holiday Bowl, they beat the brace off of Washington State. Put 52 on them. So they definitely had a really good season. I did not have them beating us. I believe I had them losing to Cal or beating Cal. I can't remember. So
I had them losing.
Yeah, I had them losing to Cal, so I got that one wrong. Boston College, I think I had them. I had them
losing Boston College. They lost.
Oh no, I had Boston College winning that game, so I got that one right. So
All right. So, last thing about Syracuse, they do have a transfer quarterback, Ricky Collins. No idea who he is. Transfer from LSU. So, we'll see. Fran Brown. I mean,
He ain't getting no burn, so
we'll see. Yeah,
that's
he
why you don't
definitely
know who
didn't.
he is.
Yeah, Garrett Nussmeyer and Jada Daniels. He definitely ain't got no burn.
Mm.
But we'll move on to Virginia. And y'all know me, man. I was a huge Anthony Calandria fan. I thought he was going to shoot his name up draft boards for next year. And he ended up getting benched for Tony Muskett. Because his issues reared his ugly head. I always left the caveat that if Calandria could just cut down on the turnovers, he'd be one of the best quarterbacks in the country when it's his time to shine. And he couldn't. He still was just turning the ball over. He had some moments where you'll see the talent, but the turnovers, it's the turnovers for Calandria. And now he's at UNLV, which I think is good for him. I think he might, go crazy in UNLV. I'm not gonna lie. In the Mountain West, I think he might go crazy. But that was the issue, man. Turnovers against Maryland again. Turnovers. Probably should have won that Maryland game, but turnovers reared their ugly heads. Now the thing is, as high am I as I was on, Calandria and I want to say Malachi Fields. They I had them going 5-7, 2-6. They went 5-7, 3-5. I was high on Jonas Sanker, who got drafted, and Chico Bennett on the defensive line. But yeah, they went 5-7, 3-5. Turnovers were their ugly head. But I predicted that season fairly well. I had them beating Richmond, they won. I had them beating Wake Forest, they won. Had them beating Maryland, they lost 27-13. Had them beating Coastal Carolina, they won. Had them beating Boston College, they won. Had them losing to Louisville, they lost. Had them losing to Coombs, they lost. I had them losing to UNC, they lost. I had them losing to Pitt, they won 24-19. Had them losing to Notre Dame, they lost. Had them losing to SMU, they lost. And I had them losing to Virginia Tech. 10 games right, 2 games wrong. Ace, go ahead, talk to me about Virginia.
Yeah, so I wasn't very high on Virginia at all going into the season. I had them projected at 2-10, 0-8. I when I look at Virginia, I think I just see what I want to see sometimes, and what I see when I look at Virginia is just not a good football team. Like I'm Carl may like Calandria. I think he's okay, but he's just another guy who just cannot stop turning the ball over. Interceptions are synonymous with this man. Like he can make plays. Like he reminds me of like Jake Plummer or something. Like he'll make a play or two, but then he'll give it up. You know what I mean? It's kind of bad.
Facts.
Now Malachi Fields is a dog. I do like that guy. I think he is a great playmaker, and he was definitely one of the bright spots for this team. But they did overperform for what I thought. 5-7, 3-5. That's definitely way better than 2-10.
And
But
0-8.
yeah, still not good. Still not good enough though.
Yeah, to piggyback on your point, Calandria in 2023, just like I was saying, 9 turnovers, 9 interceptions, 11 in 2024.
Right. And in 2023, he was young. Like he was a freshman.
He's a freshman, yeah.
Right. No, it's like, all right, you expect that. But now it's like he made improvements, but not that much.
No, I mean, he's still the same player to me.
Yeah.
Gunslinger could run, very fun to watch, exciting, but we'll turn the rock over.
My record was pretty close. I had them at 4-8, and they 5-7. So I was close. I was a game off. Yeah, I wasn't that high on Calandria either. I know how much Carl used to talk about him, especially in the college football chat. He's my boy Calandria. He out there. I was like, yeah, he might be turning the ball over too.
That's my only caveat. I used to always come with the caveat. If he could stop turning the ball over, bro. If he could stop turning the ball over, he just can't stop doing it.
He just couldn't. He was that was
I mean, it was Haynes King 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was
Plummer.
That was Jameis Winston with the Bucks.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston with the Bucks and Josh Allen just 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
It just can't stop turning the ball over. Yeah, and that's not good. So, I mean, that's hopefully, he gets an opportunity to change that this year.
He's at UNLV. I think he's going to start. Because I think, Heisman League Wilson is gone. Williams. I said Wilson. Heisman League Williams. But Yeah, man. I'm interested. I don't know. I feel like I don't never know how to feel about Virginia because they were a basketball school, but Tony Bennett did retire, so they're a lacrosse school, I guess now, but they're very good academically. So I don't know. It's like every so often Virginia comes out of nowhere and have a really good season.
Mm-hmm. Every 5 years or so.
Yeah. What was it? Who was it that quarterback? Was it
It was Armstrong.
Brendan Armstrong with oh my god, I can't remember the head coach name, bro. Bronco Mendenhall.
Yep.
With Mendenhall.
Yeah, I remember that name.
Matt Johns, I think one year had a good year with UVA. I want to say Matt Johns. And then Kurt Benkert. He had a good year at UVA. So yeah.
Every now and again they do something right.
Yep. So we're gonna move on from Virginia to Virginia Tech, which are one of my biggest disappointments of the year. This might have been my biggest disappointment of the year. And it's my fault because I knew Kyron Jones was overrated, but I let the talks get to me. I did. I'm not gonna lie. I knew Kyron Jones was overrated. Ace knows how much I used to talk about Kyron Jones being overrated, and I let the talks get to me. I did, and I normally don't, but I don't know. I fell for it. I had Virginia Tech going 10-2, 6-2. They went 6-6, 4-4. This is one thing I'll say about Virginia Tech. I don't like how they was using Bashul Tootin. If Bashul Tootin was on another school, he would probably be a premier back in the country. They were just trying to use a bunch of read options with Kyron Jones, and Bashul Tootin to me didn't really get his touches as much as he really should have. He should have been the main focal point of that offense. And then they were using a lot of Jalen Lane screens and stuff like that. I feel like they should have probably tried to push the ball down the field with Jalen Lane and use screens after like big plays after they softened the defense up. But, I mean, it is what it is. Now, APR had an APR year, 16, or I want to say like 16 sacks. For those that don't know, I'm talking about Antoine Powell-Ryland. Amazing year. Amazing year. He's in consideration for ACC Defensive Player of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, man, just a big disappointment. And, Dorian Strong. Can't forget about him at corner. I was a huge Dorian Strong fan at Virginia Tech. So, shout out to him. He got drafted by the Bills. But, we're going to the ops, man. I'm telling you. But I had Virginia Tech. I had them beating Vandy, but that was Diego Pavea's and Vandy's coming out party. They lost in overtime, 34-27. Had them beating Marshall, which they did beat Marshall on Old Dominion, which I had them winning. Had them beating Rutgers. They lost 26-23. And if I remember correctly, they could not stop Kyle Monangat. I had them losing to Miami, which they honestly should have beat y'all in that game too. That's another game where I thought Cam Ward could have got blamed. If y'all lost, that would have been Cam Ward's fault. Stanford, I had them beating Stanford, they won. I had them beating Boston College, they won. I had them beating Georgia Tech, they won. I had them beating Syracuse, they lost 38-31 in overtime. I had them losing to Clemson, they lost. Had them beating Duke, they lost 31-28. Had them beating Virginia, and they won. They lost the Duke's Mayo Bowl to Minnesota. Minnesota dominated them in that game. I'm not going to lie. 24-10. I got 8 games right, 4 games wrong. Dave, talk to me about Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I have Virginia. I was high on Virginia Tech too. I had them going 9-3 last year, but like you said, they only went 6-6. Lost in the bowl game. I was expecting a lot more from them. And I was also on that. Got on that bandwagon for Kyron, man. I don't know, for some reason I thought he was going to have a good season this year, and that, didn't pan out that way. I only had them losing to look at my other notes. I think I got like 5 games wrong out of this entire thing. Maybe like 5 or 6 games wrong. From this is probably the worst I did from everybody, outside of Florida State, of course. But I'm glad I did bad there.
Oh my, bro! While you was talking, I looked up Kyron Jones in the college football chat, and there's a video. Y'all remember the old video before the season started? Him with Shador and Cam. I said, man, get Kyron Jones out of here. You laughed. You asked what's wrong with him. I said, I'm just not a fan. He's not that good, man. Man is just a runner.
And he showed that. He showed that he was just a runner, man.
And that was before the season started, bro. How did that?
So that first game against Vanderbilt, I think I had them winning that game, and they lost that one.
They did.
Was not expecting that. Beat Marshall, of course. Beat Old Dominion. Lost to Rutgers. I thought they would win that game. And then, yeah, lost to us. Even though we only won that game by 4 points. Then lost. Then they beat Stanford, of course. Beat Boston College. Beat Georgia Tech. And lost to Syracuse in overtime. Lost to Clemson. I got the Duke game wrong because I thought they would beat Duke. So
Yeah, I did too.
it's whatever.
Go ahead, Ace.
Yeah, so I had Virginia Tech going 9-3, 5-3 in the conference. Obviously, they end up going 6-6, 4-4. Like you said, Kyron Jones definitely didn't live up to the hype. I do like Big Shul Tootin. He is the problem. Like kid is a baller for sure. But I don't know what you do with Kyron Jones after what he showed you this season. Like, I'm not too sure. Do you
Go
find
find somebody else. That's what you do.
Well, he returned. He's returning, so
yeah, I mean, but look, it's not like he isn't a talented kid. He is pretty talented, but it's just like, can he be dual threat enough for it to matter?
he can use his legs. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the arm.
The arm.
He got a strong arm, but it's
Got strong arm, no accuracy. At least Milrow can hit the deep ball, you know.
Man, I can't.
We should have lost that game.
Y'all should have. But this is when I look back and I'm like, bro, I knew it. I knew it. It irritates me. That one irritates me being that far off when I knew it. But if we have nothing else to say, we can move on to our final team in the ACC, Wake Forest.
All right, let's do it.
A team who surprisingly wasn't the worst in the ACC. Like
I was about to say it, bro. I had Wake Forest going 1-11, 0-8 in conference play. They actually went 4-8, 2-6. Which like they weren't the worst in ACC play. I looked at my projected standings first, so I had to correct that. But yeah, what I will say is this: Hank Bachmeier, for as bad as he played at Louisiana Tech, he was pretty solid for Wake Forest this year. I'll give him that. Pretty solid. They had a pretty solid passing attack with Bachmeier at quarterback. They lost Jamal Banks. They lost some pieces, but pretty solid passing attack there. Oh, they lost to Mitch Griffiths? Yeah, Mitch Griffiths. They were high on Mitch Griffiths. Then he entered the portal. But yeah, pretty solid passing attack. Defensively, though, another bad defensive team for Wake Forest. But I don't know. I think it's something solid going on at Wake Forest. I don't think there'll be a team fighting for ACC, but I don't think they'll just be a consistent bottom of the barrel ACC team either. When I mean bottom, I mean very bottom. They might be fighting not to be the very bottom, but I don't think they're going to be consistently, oh yeah, that's just the worst team in the ACC. No, I don't think that. But I had them beating North Carolina A&T. They won. Had them losing to Virginia. They lost. Had them losing to Ole Miss. They lost, obviously. But I think that game was actually it was more competitive than I thought it would be. Had them losing to Louisiana, they lost. Had them losing to NC State, they actually won. Had them losing to Clemson, they lost. Had them losing to UConn, they actually won 23-20. Had them losing to Stanford, they actually won 27-24. Had them losing to Cal, they lost. Had them losing to UNC, they lost. Had them losing to Miami and Duke, they lost both games. Had 9 games right, 3 games wrong. Again, they went 4-8, 2-6, no bowl game, but I mean, they didn't finish last, so that's something at Wake Forest you can hang your hat on.
It's improvement for sure.
Yeah, especially they came up. Well, actually, they went 4-8, 1-7 the year prior, so improved in the ACC record.
That's it.
That's something.
That's it. That's it. They got to win.
Dave, kick off Wake Forest for me.
Yeah, Wake Forest, man. I mean, they won more games than I predicted. Me and you were right there, Carl. I had them going 1-11 as well. And the one game I had them winning, they won. I had them beating Stanford, and they beat Stanford, but they won more games than that. They beat NC State.
Well, you had them losing to North Carolina A&T?
Yeah.
Oh,
yo,
dang.
wildin'. That was the only game I had him winning.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wait. No. You're right. That's the game I had them winning. I'm tripping. Yeah, that was the first game of the season. I had them winning that and then losing everything else afterwards.
Yeah, that's how I had it.
I mean, I knew they was going to lose against Ole Miss. I knew that was going to happen. Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns lost to them. I had that as an L. I did not think that NC State would lose against Wake Forest. That shocked me. I didn't think UConn would lose to them either, so that shocked me. The one game that I can understand though is the Stanford game. I can understand them winning that game because Stanford wasn't really that good either. So,
ways.
Yeah, I had them going 3-9, 1-7 in the conference.
You was pretty close.
Yeah, a lot closer than we were.
Yeah, no bull.
And the 3 games that I had them winning were Stanford, UConn, and Louisiana. Obviously, they didn't beat Louisiana, but pretty close.
And kudos to that.
So you had them losing to North.
Yeah, you had them losing to NC.
No? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot.
See?
I did the exact same thing.
So you had them losing to A&T and
no,
I had them winning.
You had them beating A&T and losing to Louisiana.
I mean, losing to Louisiana.
Okay. All right, so that's enough for Wake Forest, and that's all the teams. So real quickly, I don't know if y'all have y'all standings. If you don't, I'll just do mine real quick. My projected standings were Clemson at 1, Louisville at 2, Miami at 3, SMU at 4, NC State at 5, VTech at 6, Florida State at 7, Georgia Tech at 8, Cal at 9, UNC at 10, BC at 11, Pitt at 12, Duke at 13, Virginia at 14, Syracuse at 15, Stanford at 16, and 17th was Wake Forest. The actual standings were SMU 1, Clemson 2, Miami at 3, so I did get that right, Syracuse at 4, Louisville at 5, Georgia Tech at 6, Duke at 7, Virginia Tech at 8, Boston College at 9, Pitt at 10, North Carolina State at 11, UNC at 12, UVA at 13, Cal at 14, 15th was Wake Forest, 16th was Stanford, so I got that right, and 17th was Florida State. Now, what I will say is, on tiebreakers, I didn't have specific tiebreakers unless they played each other, so I went in alphabetical order. So if you didn't play each other, I'll just put y'all in alphabetical order. So some of these could have been differently. Do y'all have y'all projected standings?
Well, when we did it, we actually didn't give our standings.
All right, so we'll just get past that. We'll skip past that. I gave mine. We'll get past it.
I did get my championship game though.
Yeah, I was about to move. I was about to get on to that one. So my ACC championship game was Clemson versus Louisville, with Clemson winning. I did get Clemson going right and Clemson winning. Dave, who was your ACC championship game?
Mine was Miami versus SMU with us winning, and we didn't even get there. So
at least SMU got that. So at least you got that. And Ace.
Yeah, mine was Miami versus Clemson, obviously with us winning and going on to win a national championship, but that didn't happen. So.
All right. Well, at least you got Clemson getting there. That's that's good. So then ACC Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year. My ACC Offensive Player of the Year was Cam Ward. Dave, who was yours?
Mine was Damian Martinez.
And Ace?
Cam Ward.
All right, which ACC Offensive Player of the Year was Cam Ward. Now, if you're wondering why he wasn't on the thumbnail, is because I gave Cam Ward a lot of love throughout the season. So I wanted to give Donovan, as a rookie, the Defensive Player of the Year in the ACC, some love. So that's why he made it. And I told myself, whoever wins the conference on the review will automatically get that coach will automatically get a spot on the thumbnail. So Dabo Swinney got the other slot. So again, we didn't pick a Defensive Player of the Year because,
hard to do. Yeah.
That's so hard to predict. But Donovan, as a rookie, did win it. So shout out to him. I did want to announce that. And I don't think we picked the Coach of the Year, did we? No. But the Coach of the Year. Oh, did I not write it down? I could have swore I did. I did not. Let me Google it real quick. I could have swore I wrote it down because I don't remember who won it. I'm gonna just assume that Red Lashley won it though. But
I would.
It was Lashley.
Yeah, I figured. So shout out to him for winning Coach of the Year. Well deserved.
For sure.
Going undefeated in conference play. I mean, well deserved. He didn't win the championship, but I think it's voted before that. And if not, it doesn't matter. Dabo Swinney was not Coach of the Year. But that concludes our ACC wrap up review. It's been a fun 2 hours and 45 minutes, but it's almost midnight. So, hey, Dave, I'm gonna start with you. Any last words?
Man, let's go to you. Let's do something different this year. Let's get to the ACC championship game and get into the playoff. That's all I'm worried about. And let's improve this defense.
Ace?
Carl, thanks again for having me on the show, bro.
No problem. Go ahead, Ace.
You see it, you know it, you love it, you can't live without it. Curse you, Lance Guidry.
All right, my final words is, hey man, thank y'all for being on the show. Thank y'all for bearing with me when I had to do what I had to deal with. But man, it's been fun. 2 hours 45 minutes. Next week will be I got it written down somewhere. Hold on. Where's that notebook? I was right here. Next week will be the Big Ten in review. Oh God, I gotta talk about MSU. I gotta talk about MSU going 5-7. Jesus. Big Ten in review. Big 12 is after that. Ace actually helped me do the SEC, so Ace will be back for the SEC. You got 3 weeks. So yeah, please be on the lookout for that. Dave's Doghouse will be tomorrow. You want to tell him what time?
Noon
Tomorrow. Make sure y'all check out Dave's Doghouse. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. Did you make the Tigers dogs yet?
I can make them there.
I mean, 25-13, best record in the AL. Come on, bruh.
Still pretty early.
Second best record. What do you mean? That's the whole purpose of the doghouse.
Okay.
This is legit the reason why we have Dave's Doghouse.
He thought this is literally up his ass.
He telling facts. He's speaking facts. So hey, you want me to put him on there? I can. I still got extra spot.
I don't know. Part of me says yes, they deserve it, but I don't want to jinx my mob either. Like we're going to doghouse and then we just start tanking. We got the Rangers and the Red Sox coming up. I don't know. Let's see after that. Which Dave is a Red Sox fan, by the way. So Monday, you already know what it is.
Smoke.
Well, what?
It's smoke.
Yeah, oh yeah, facts. You already know. Especially because Jovan want to take little pokes at the Tigers. I told him it was smoke from here on out. So sometimes you just gotta ignore the Red Sox shots. They for him. But yeah, that's the show. Dave will also be on the main show tomorrow. You're gonna be on, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. Dave is on the main show tomorrow, 7:00. So make sure y'all tune into that. And with that being said, it is late, and I will see y'all next time. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.